And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. Today's episode, I'm discussing brand new patch 13.5. Wow, it's actually here, Giga. The
It is.
longest escape from Tarkov wipe. We finally get the patch here today with this. I mean, this is like, what, 24 hours later, basically? Like, we're recording this
Pretty much.
the day after the wipe. So this is like fresh, straight off the fucking floor, man. Like, we're just right off the pocket watch, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I haven't even done Pocket Watch, so it's that early. It's that early. So no, it's good. Everyone has to excuse my voice slightly. I was at the end of a cough previously that wasn't causing me any issues at all. And then I streamed for 8 hours, and an hour 6, my voice started to collapse and die. So the upper notes in my vocal range have been disintegrated. So I'm gonna have to talk kind of lower for this, otherwise my voice is gonna start breaking like a chap going through some mid-teen stuff, if you know what I mean.
I was just imagining fabricating the thought that you were you were like raging on wipe day, like screaming.
It's finally hit puberty, yay! I can feel the comments already.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, dude, it's been pretty wild. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, should we just talk a bit about our experience so far? I guess, like, how have you been getting on? What's been
Sure. So, yeah. I mean, for those that know, I haven't played in like, God, dude, it's probably been like 5 months, 4 months. I mean, I don't really count like Tarkov SP Dabbling as playing or anything like that, but like actually playing, it's been quite some time. So I've been kind of wanting to do a hotkeys mix up. I tried it one of the other wipes, but I couldn't stick to it. And I think I already like found some problem spots, but like I mean this in like the most sincerest way. I call this like the autistic keybinds because I'm thinking of like what's the most efficient way to use certain keys. So like for example, right, the spacebar key. Okay, I think I talked about this before. It takes up a lot of space, right? But it's like bound to jumping. Like when do you need to like jump and press like O or like U or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you may want to like jump directionally, so you're like index and middle finger, or ring finger and middle finger may be in use. So like then you have your pinky and like your but you don't like you want to keep your ring, middle, and index in like what is it? AWD typically. That's like the default position, right? So you get to take your pinky and thumb to play around with, and you can do like quick little, touches with the other fingers, but you don't want to like. Anyways, so I changed. Spacebar is like kind of like a universal modifier key. I need to like work out a few details, but I changed jump to control, and it's so hard to get used to. I'm thinking about changing it to jump to C and then control to crouch because from playing other games, my brain's getting confused that thinking control is crouch when it's not, and it's just
because that's also something you have to think about, right? It's like you're not just going to play. If you are just playing Tarkov, then that's fine. But like if you're going to play other games, you don't necessarily want to have this like mixed up keybind setting for everything. Unless like maybe you could, but it's not really necessary elsewhere. I mean, you could do, I suppose, but in some other games, one thing that I actually don't like about keybinds the most is how some things just don't translate, and then you just can't get the same functionality. It's like when I was playing BattleBit and I couldn't get the swap scopes to be the same as in Tarkov. I was just like, oh man, it's just different, and I can't make them the same unless I change them both to something really basic, and it was just annoying. So yeah, it's not always possible to make some custom keybind set actually applicable to all the games, and then your muscle memory's short, and you're flicking around. It's you just don't want it.
I also wanted this change to instead of WASD ESDF.
So you get more keys around.
More keys, but I think that's a little too much for now. I know I've heard of it. It's not ultra rare.
I feel like ESDF could be quite good though, because all you have to do is adjust your hand position, and it's like the same keys. Like the layout is the same. It feels like WAS, so it's kind of all right. But then you're just using W and R to do your lean, and then you've got Q and T instead to do some other function. I think that's could be okay. I could feel that maybe is not necessarily too bad. Otherwise, your hand position might end up in the wrong place all the time. But other than that, I think you could get used to that relatively quickly.
Someone says DGRF, put that pinky to work. Oh my
Oh my
god, yeah,
goodness.
that is good. That would be crazy. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I think the E one's a good middle. Anyways, so yeah, there's a few keys I need to work out, but it's because the other one I thought was about scroll wheel using for jump, because some games, you want to like bunny hops, you bang scroll wheel like one of the actions, but I think it's a little too much. Anywho, but other than that, wipe has been okay. It's been a hard adjustment, getting used to the movement again. Everything just feels really clunky. Oh man, I was like trying to battle with someone, and it's just like, no, it's like that's just not That's not it's not a thing. You just don't. You just do one action and you shoot your gun. That's pretty much Tarkov.
Yeah, you have to commit to the thing you're doing and also time it, right? It's like if you want to lean peek a corner, you have to like start slowing down at the right time so that the inertia slows down, and the lean, you don't go too far and overshoot. Like that's actually a really big skill in Tarkov. It's like not overshooting corners and knowing how far you need to go so that you're not exposing your full body, but that you can actually still lean the gun out. That's the thing. It's a very specific skill set. Whereas,
it's like
yeah.
It's like operating a drunk human. It's you can put little joysticks plugged into their brain, and you have to like walk a drunk human around. That's what it's like. Valve's like a much finer.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like PUBG and Squad are also like that. Like when I played both those games after not playing them for a while, they also feel like that. So it's kind of like, I don't know about Armor. I've not actually ever played actual Armor, but I imagine it's also much the same.
But they also feel drunk, you mean?
I would guess, but PUBG and Squad did for sure. When I wasn't used to them, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's definitely a learning curve. I mean, you definitely can't. That's what I was trying to do, is like spam, like it just like was so reflexive came into like, be harder to hit. So like lean and then counter lean, but it's like it's weird because like you lean and then you counter lean and it doesn't do it very fast. It's like very slow. It's just very sluggish. And then you got to deal with the cross hit or your like gun moving as really. It's which you can
try
compensate.
to strafe and the gun center moves to the left or the right depending on which way you're going, and like
you can build muscle memory for that and compensate it, but not like going. It's like going from one thing to like something way more different. It's just
it's like riding motorbikes and then just being like, right, we're gonna go and sail this barge down the river. It's like completely different. It's like
way different. So
you have to start anticipating the corners and stuff way earlier, to get the turn on. But anyway, so yeah,
I'll tell you though, that circle strafe technique comes in handy. Boy, I'll tell you, it's like that's the default easiest mechanic to, probably the best movement mechanic to do. Just like a natural, circle strafe. It's just that like everything else feels ass, but that's the only thing that feels good.
It makes the game feel pretty good. So where have you actually got to then? Like where are you up to, and what guns have you been using?
I just finished Pocket Watch, and I haven't really used much, man. Just AKs. I'm bare. So I lost my RPK trying to battle with this guy, so that's lesson learned. Like it's a pretty crazy fight. I can't believe I only hit him 7 times, but like in between the leaning I was doing, the extra leaning, my gun swaying, the aim punch, the blur from getting aim punched, it was just like, it was such a messy fight. Like we both like we mag dumped each other and then reloaded and then mag dumped a little bit again and he killed me. But I wasn't on painkillers, so I was like a snail walking, limping. So it was kind of like my bad on that one. There's a lot of things that I messed up in that fight.
I mean, that's the way with early wipe as well. There's just so much stuff that you mess up. But we can talk about painkillers. There's actually some changes. We can talk about that in a bit. But I mean, so far for me, I've avoided customs. I've literally not played a single customs raid. Like I am kind of a woods enjoyer, sort of, in a generalistic sense. I don't play that much woods actually, in the wipe. But I know woods is pretty good early, and it seems to just have ended up being like my default place to be in general this time around. And I do usually play a bit more customs, but I think I was just trying to be efficient, and it's like I could go do Pocket Watch, sure, but I want to do the therapist water one, really, which meant I had to do the Soleil's first, and I still don't have the key to 206. So I'm kind of like collecting the customs quests, and then I will go and do that, if you know what I mean. Because like I've now got, so I finished supplier, so I got the TOS finally. That was
Oh, okay.
honestly that was a mission and a half. Jesus
Do you just
Christ!
need?
Oh my word!
Is it just one Taz and
It's
one white
just one
armor?
TOS and
Okay.
one white armor. God, the TOS one. There's actually loads of TOSs on streets. It seems. There's lots of people saying there's some TOS scouts on factory all over the place. But I was like, I don't really want to play factory. Like extracting out of factory early is really tough with gate 3 and player
Yeah.
scavs, and it's really hard. You just don't have enough HP. You don't have enough armor to fend against player scavs like you can later on as a PMC. So I was like, fine, we'll try streets. And I had like one of the streets raids was just a complete mess, and I ended up dying to. I was like, what the hell's going on? I just couldn't see this guy, and then he just appeared in the doorway that I was in like 2 seconds ago, and I was like, how did he even get that? I don't understand. So I got like shotgunned by this dude, but it turned out he was a player scav working with like 2 actual scavs, like AI scavs. I was just like, man, like the AI has gone crazy this wipe. So I mean, that was brutal. And then I played streets again, and I was in partly in the new area, and I couldn't get out. I was getting shot stuff. It was like a proper ordeal, but I managed to escape with the TOS, which allowed me to complete that, which was good. I was like, yeah. At one point, I was like in this courtyard, and I was like, how do I get out? How do I get out? Like I can't get out here. Um, I'm actually really pleased that I did the streets video, because there were lots of things about the new area that's just like, okay, well that's that. I know where this is. I know where this is in relation to the main map. I know how to kind of get back to the main street from here. And that's sort of how I was navigating. And I got stuck the one time, but without that, I would have been really confused. Because I spawned in the new area. So I was just like, where the hell am I? And I was like, oh, well, that's the pink building. Okay, so that's this street. I'm in this corner. But even though I'm in the new area, I kind of like know the direction I'm going. I know where I'm trying to get to. Like I'm going towards Concordia. This is fine. Um, and then got a bit stuck, but it ended up working out. So yeah, so now I've done skiers one. I've got extortionist. You see, so that's customs. And then once I can get the Dorms 206 key, then I can do the water one, which is also customs. So depending on where I spawn, I can kind of do any of those 3 quests and could pick and choose. So I'm sort of trying to get to. I may end up just doing some customs anyway, but I'm sort of trying to get to having all of my customs quests all at once, and then just play customs, as a thing afterwards. So I'm
Right.
like yet to go there. So like for now, it's just been only woods pretty much. Woods, reserve, and streets are the only 3 maps I've played. It was mostly woods and a bit of reserve and a little bit of streets, but it's been by far my most successful wipe. I've played 14 raids. I have 71% survival rate. I only died 4 times out of the 10, and I've got 9 PMC kills, which is like I feel like the early wipe PvP, Giga
Mm-hmm.
Chad, whatever. Because like I've never had that many kills early. A lot of them, to be fair, from hearing people stomping about, being very very quiet, and hunting wabbits, and just waiting and then just shooting them. So
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit of sneaky play, you might say. There's a couple of very unfortunate player scavs in interchange in Goshan trying to get food. The food shelves are absolutely rammed with food and all sorts.
Mm.
But there were guys like shuffling about in there, and I just waited till they came past me in the shelves and just from point blank, and they had no chance. I was using my because I always go USEC, so I was using my MDR for the first 5 raids or so, and I died on raid 5 to like the most weird audio, invisible. Like the guy was just like I could hear him looting as if he was literally in front of my face. Like we'd been like
Oh yeah.
playing with this guy for a while. I got stuck upstairs in one of the houses in the Scav village, and I was like, I know someone's still outside. Maybe it's a Scav. I'm not sure. And I slowly crept out, and
Mm.
then was just like, "There's no one here," so I just like started walking around. And yeah, and he started looting because he didn't even hear me, even though I was walking about. But it sounded like it was right in front of me, but I just couldn't see him. So I was like, is there like an audio cue that's just playing or
Sure.
something?" So I walked forwards, and then he stood up with the pilgrim on and shot me straight in the eyes. And I
Oh
was like, no! So I
no.
lost my AVS and my MDR. I mean, I always lose it on day one at some point. I just try to
Of
use it as
course.
long as I can because MDR, AVS, and TC 2002 helmets. I'm just like class
Mm-hmm.
forward up. So someone eventually gets like
Yeah.
jaws, eyes, or ears, and I die. And it happens at some stage. So that was on that raid. But otherwise, it's been, yeah, amazing. Went to the meds camp and managed to get a LEDX on day one, which is crazy. Managed to get it
It is
out.
crazy.
So we'll find a raid LEDX. Tons of people have been finding LEDX though. Like there's loads of loot. And
I
we
was
could talk
gonna
about that, but yeah.
say, well, yeah, I was gonna say that seems to be the reports, right? People are claiming like, and even the screenshots I'm seeing, it's like, dude, there's a like they've buffed loot, and presumably that's because of a shorter wipe. Presumably,
That's the theory, I think.
on the audio note, dude. Okay, so I gotta know: are you playing with binaural on?
I am.
Okay, see, I didn't realize it till later, and I don't think I actually restarted the game. But I was playing binaural off, and I had an issue where I was on streets in a building, and there was like a scav running up from outside to like the doorway,
Mm.
and I went to like, I wasn't sure, well, I didn't know what it was, but I was gonna like catch them while they were running because I was like pretty close to the doorway, so I would have made like minimal noise peeking out. I knew they wouldn't have enough time to react, but as soon as I make that decision, they're like instantly in front of me, but it sounded like they were further
Oh,
away, which was very odd. So I
yeah.
don't know if that's like related to because it was kind of similar to what you were describing. Like it sounded like they were further away, but that was like with looting noises. So
Yeah, I think the looting noise is really loud. I think you might be suffering though from just like the general audio changes because you haven't played a great deal since they did it, right? And the
mhm.
new audio model in general, people sound like they're right in front of you with most of the headsets.
Well,
Like
this
it's really loud, but it's quite compressed too, so it's quite hard to tell how far they are away.
okay.
Especially in the kind of in the sort of 0 to I would say 20 meters, 30 meters.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem to get. It's not quiet enough at 20 meters, and it's not loud enough at 0. One or the other. It's
Okay.
like too compressed. It's like
So
the
the
audio
range is
the
really
audio feeds
small.
in, and then the range gets really low at the end. So it's just like you can't tell how far they are. It's like with my guy, it was as if he was like literally under my feet,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Where is he?" Like it's just open. It's just open grass. But he was in the long grass like 7 meters away or something, looting a
Hmm.
body, and it sounded like he was right in front of me. So I think it's kind of the new audio system, sort of, and the way the headsets work.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen as much if you don't have an active headset on. So it might be intentional. And the reason why I know this is because when you play on hardcore, headsets are almost impossible to get. So I actually played quite a lot without one in the last few stages of the wipe. And I've been playing, on my main with headsets every raid and without on my hardcore, pretty much every raid that I played there. And it's quite a big difference. I mean, the headsets are a huge advantage, but you have this kind of weird thing where it's kind of how active headsets work, I suppose. But I don't know how that differentiation between 1 meter footsteps and 20-meter footsteps works. Maybe they are very similar in an active headset. I don't know, but that just seems to be one outcome of the way they've done it.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean I haven't played since they reworked headsets, and then you got the new audio changes they did. So
Mm,
it's definitely gonna need a lot more time. Um, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's not like we have always said before. There's nothing fundamentally different this way, really. I think the looting thing, I was still sort of had it in the back of my mind because I wasn't sure how much it would change, but the dynamic boxes, they're actually really fun. I don't know what you think about it, but I think it's actually pretty cool.
I haven't seen a lot. What you got a cool story?
Not particularly. I mean, the stashes seem a bit. There's something broken with stashes, I think, because it's still the jury's still out on whether stashes are supposed to be dynamic or not. Because from all reports I've had so far, every custom stash is apparently
Is
exactly where it always
spawning.
was, and the same
Well,
thing with
that's.
Shoreline.
I mean, the way Nikita said it in that hunt. I don't know if you watched that hunt showdown.
I watched
What?
half of it.
Okay. Well, one of the things that he called out, because I think John B asked about that, and he was like, they're dynamic in the sense that they are binary. They either can spawn or can't spawn, which I was like a little
Hmm.
disappointed about. I was kind of like hoping they would like actually relocate. Um,
I
but
think. I mean, is that not how it works? Did they add more stash? Actually, no. Yeah, I don't know. Did they add more
I,
stash spots or not? And because
I
like
can't
they are
say
binary,
for
right?
certain.
They're either there or they're not. But if they added like 5 times as many stash points, then it makes it kind of okay. Like I haven't found any on woods. None of the old locations on woods work at all. But lots of people are saying there are no stashes on woods and it's totally bugged, and the stashes are just gone.
I'm
So I
not.
don't know yet. I'm not sure what's a bug. I don't know what's the intended
What's a
behavior
feature?
yet. Yeah, I
That's
know.
Tarkov. That's
Because then it's also like maybe we just haven't found them on woods because like some of the ones on woods we only know because we've been playing the game for a year and a half with them on, and like you look at the map and then you look at the video guide and then you finally find the goddamn thing because it's green and brown on the floor in a bush with the rest of the map being green and brown
yeah.
and bushes and trees. So it's like the woods ones are impossible to find in the first place. So a chat saying there are stashes on woods. Okay, so maybe woods has got it working properly. And they're saying, yeah, woods and interchange randomized, it seems, in customs and shoreline aren't. That is the broad feedback that seems to be coming through.
But randomizes in there, like there's new locations. That's really the big one for me. Like it's not really that dynamic if it's binary, in my opinion. I mean, it's like okay, I guess it's like dynamic-ish, but it's it's not a big range. Like
Yeah,
I would,
that's the thing. I wouldn't mind if they added more spots. If it's just all the old
yeah,
spots and they're either on or off, then like, yeah, it's kind of silly.
kind of, yeah, I agree.
But
But
yeah,
I mean, it looks like I saw there was like an extra crate on someone's stream, on in Stronghold or whatever, the big and customs, the big fortress area, which was kind of cool. And there wasn't crates in certain areas. I
yeah,
don't
like
know.
reserve is quite good. Like inside the reserve, like the pawn buildings, which is where I did a lot of looting. There was like a black crate was there one time and not on another, and like different crates were in different places. You have to like search the whole thing. I was like, this feels pretty good actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure with enough time, we'll probably know all the potential spots. But overall, having some variation, it's like variation with variation, which I think is good. Mixes it up a bit.
Because it means you can't just go like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then extract. It's like it makes it a bit more dynamic just in general.
Yeah,
You have to search more places, and yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. The
have
one
you
thing
played around? Oh yeah, go for it.
The one thing I really do like in regards to loot is the ammo boxes. They've added like a crap ton of new ammo boxes and new ammo types as well. But I just like the fact that I'm looting an ammo box and it's like 20 rounds of 7.62 by 39 PS and then like 40 rounds of what was the HK 4.63 the MP7 APSX whatever. I got like 40 rounds of it. It's like a unique box. So now I'm hoping that they've added these unique boxes for like most of the stuff because there's a lot of ammo types in the game, like 100 plus, I would say easily. Maybe
I think so.
I don't know. So I think that's great because now it's like God, I can finally like find some of these loose ammo lying around because previously it was like what the 9x19 or 9x18 and then like basically Russian rounds and like one maybe like some shotgun rip in a box. Did they even spawn in a box? Like it was so minuscule. And like
they did
M855. Like it was so minuscule.
And that was it. Yeah,
you had to find loose ammo and like stashes and crates. Like it was really. But now, dude, it's like, oh man, I just can like feel the. Like I think I died, or maybe I made it out, but I felt like M80 and like TCPW, which was a pretty good find. I think those might have been loose though. Anyways, I like that. I like that, keeping the ammo flow, the ammo economy more evenly spread out.
They added these kind of at the end of last wipe, so this was sort of how. This is something that they changed at the end in the pre-wipe kind of thing. It was like when the airdrops were coming down.
Oh,
and it feels like they've just kept it. Because a lot of the time they revert this kind of thing, but they've just kept it. Because I had a chatter who had found a box of like Le Pure Magnum AP on a sofa. So it's like a lot of those things. I think because they were using
something about this.
They were using the 9x18 boxes as some kind of placeholder. I think.
Yeah.
So then I think they've gone and modeled all the other ones, so they've got proper boxes for them all.
Okay.
And now you can find all the ammo, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, I like
it
it a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I haven't actually found a lot of good stuff, but I did find. Oh man, I found like the 545 like SSAP. Is it? I always forget.
Yeah,
I think it's SSAP.
AIP or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. MAI is the 762 one.
Oh, okay.
I think SSAP is the 556 one. I left it behind. I should have taken it with me. I forgot how much mechanic pays for the ammo. But like MAI is like SSA is actually really not very good early wipe because the damage is like incredibly low, and it's just like way too much pen. Like you just don't need that. Like you're gonna go through people's armor most of the time with like 855, so it actually doesn't really matter. So I actually left it behind. I should have kept it, but
even the irony is like you may think, well, I'll use it against like killer or something, but it's like kind of not. I don't know. It might.
Maybe got too much HP.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah. I don't know.
Wipe one goes like M61 or BP or whatever. Because like these rounds, they just don't have enough oomph to them. Like you'd probably have to shoot Killer like 3 times in the head, I would suspect, before he would die.
Maybe more.
Like it's really stupid.
Forget how much he has. Is it 75? Oh, anyways.
Something like that. But I'm just thinking like it probably would pen.
Right.
But I mean, this is through the face shield. Like it probably pen, but it wicks away some of the damage, and then he shoots again.
The distance,
and like,
damage.
So I ended up leaving it because I was thinking in terms of just in terms of utility as opposed to, which is like almost like some of the hardcore play that I've done, like bleeding back in. I'm just kind of like, oh, I can't use this, so I'll just leave it. And then people are like, oh, you could sell it to the trader. I'm just like, oh yeah, you can sell it to the trader because I'm like. Because like my new early wipe, like my most recent early wipe experience has been playing hardcore. Because I've been doing these quests in hardcore without the traders, which is kind of fun. But I've used a lot of 855 so far. Actually, it was the MDR, and then because I got a couple of M4s. But the M4, dude, I used the M4 with iron sights in the very first raid. Oh my god, it's so bad. But on semi, dude, on semi-auto, because I was like 855 is going to be like this is good ammo, and it's going to be fine with the M4. It is not fine. Like I couldn't hit scav.
Oh,
like,
you're saying even on semi it was bad?
Yes. Yeah. And it was just like over the scav, miss. But I was just like the irons are just like. Well,
that's
it was straight on, right? And I was just like, no, this guy, like I'm just not hitting him with the irons. This is so weird.
It's partially a product though, the flip. Because
oh man, and it's so bad because the gun comes up and then it comes down, but because you're looking through the two irons, like you have to wait for the reset, like down and back up again before it's like, because with a hollow, right, at least it flips up and then you wait for it to come back,
right?
And as it's resettling, you can still take another shot because you're just looking at one dot.
Exactly.
Whereas with the irons, you have to look through the two. Oh man, it was honestly, I was just like never again, like and just never again. But I killed a guy, and I can't remember when this was. This was raid number 8, and I was probably what must I have been? Probably about level 5 or 4 or 5 or something at that point. I killed this dude with like a pretty sweet M4 around the convoy area on woods. And I was like, oh, this man's actually got some gear. And we decided in the end it was a rogue M4. So it was like shorty M4 with foregrip, had a flashlight, but the durability was like 85, you see. So I'm pretty sure it was a rogue M4, but it had like the riser with a little red dot on it. So like, okay, this is actually pretty neat. So we used that, took it out of raid, and between that raid and a different raid, I managed to find the 2 pieces of the Seeker suppressor, the combo. Like really lucky. So now I've got this gun in my stash, which I did actually use. You had it in the Ledex raid actually, and I used it then. But I've got this. Let me just find it in my stash because it's my pride and joy at the moment. Is this bad boy? So
you don't got the weapon rack to mount it on there. And...
No, yeah, it's a bit later. But because I've got M4s, I utilized one of my 100% M4s to swap all the parts over. So now I've got a brand new M4. We found a DS150. So you know the Chris Defiance stock, which is like the Mo number 2. It's like very close, but not quite. Found one of those, so that's on it. I've got one of the Stark AR pistol grips with the Seeker suppressor, like a basic handguard and the kind of Tangadan stubby foregrip on it. And I've only got a flashlight because he had a flashlight, so I just put the laser on the other side. It's got flashlight one side, laser on the other with this little red dot. And this thing is 44 ergo and 48 vertical recoil, which I'm like, for the early wipe, this thing's pretty banging, honestly, and suppressed, right?
That is my favorite part of early game is the fucking builds, dude.
Dude, oh man, dude, I have an AK that's got a little the short what is it, handguard on it of a Scorpius pistol grip and a little burst fire on the Bastion that I piece. Like it's all like random pieces from different raids, and it's like really, I love that.
Yeah, it's good. So that made me really happy. Finding that and being able to put this thing together. So like when I go and do like juicy stuff, I just like take the kitted M4, and oh my god, it helps so much. Like going from and then they don't even look like they're going to be that bad. The problem with the M4 is they've gate kept all of the bloody gas blocks behind like quests, level 2 traders. Like it's so annoying. So you can't get rid of the front post. It's so hard to use the M4 right and actually put a scope on it. Like it's so painful. What was my point going to be? I can't remember what I was going to say then.
The recoil?
The recoil. So like in the Ledex one, went to Meds Camp, found the Ledex, scarpered like ASAP, after we left, actually, like I could just hear all hell breaking loose. It was like full on war zone. But I was like the spawn point right next to it, so I was just like out there with like Solera and Aledix in my bag, like and there's everyone just grenades going off, like gunfire everywhere, because no one's suppressed. So, and this is another thing people have talked about, because no one has a suppressor. The raid feels so full. There's shots everywhere, like it's full of information. You're like, right, there's a fight over here. This guy's fighting scavs. There's a double barrel going off over there. You know, it's like it's so cool. And like Scar proud of there, but I went along the beach and I like waited on the edge up by the little bushes first, because I was like, all right, we need 7 minutes so we can stay in raid, because I was like literally by the meds camp, in Ledex, out up to the top. I was like, if I just run to outskirts, like I'm gonna be out of time. I don't want to be sitting at outskirts. It's just like not something I want to do. And people might be running into the sawmill because it's so early. There's not really anybody sniping, so you can kind of run around and do what you like. It's like on reserve. You can run around dome and not even be worried about anybody up there, because like no one has a scope, no one has the gun to actually shoot you from there. No one's got the ammo for it, so it doesn't matter even if you get hit. So I like waited by the beach, saw a guy running through into sawmill, so it was a good idea. And I was like, right, now it's all kicking off behind me. I think it's our time to go. And like went across, and as we did, there was like 2 actual AI scavs like walking down from the next section down towards the beach from the other end. And I was just like, like I'm sort of out on the beach next to this rock. And I've got this guy, and I've got it on full, but we just take them both out. I was like, oh, it felt so operated. It was so good, and the recoil felt amazing, and the optic was decent. And then we like scuttled out with our Ledex, and it was awesome. It was like the perfect early work raid. I was so happy about it.
That's
so good.
awesome.
But it makes a huge difference, right? It's like that's the thing. I've got a red dot, and it's 48 recoil versus iron sights and 73 recoil. It doesn't sound that different, really, but it's night and day. It's honestly 48 recoil on the M4. I think it's just what we've talked about a million times, but just like the RPM and the compounding nature of the recoil.
Right.
It's like after 3 shots, 73 recoil is 219 recoil, whereas like 48 is 140 something. And because the shots happen so fast, like it really is. It's a huge difference in the amount that it jumps up, and it's crazy.
Can you mount a blue laser level 1 on a stock M4?
You might be able to buy the handguard. I think you may be able to get it from somebody.
Maybe
the basic handguard now,
maybe probably Peacekeeper, I would imagine. The CAC, I
probably
would imagine.
Peacekeeper. Yeah, the CAC Riz.
Yeah, the CAC
or however you call it. Where's this come from? I think you probably can do it. Yes,
might even be Peacekeeper 2. It is Peacekeeper 1.
Yeah, I could buy it now, and I don't have Peacekeeper 2, so that is fine. But yeah,
I'm hot take, but it might be best level 1 fresh out of the gates for you to take your M4, rip the rear sight off, get the CAC handguard, slap on the blue laser, fuck it, double blue laser both sides, and ADS and shoot it like that, and just aim with the blues.
Probably better.
It might actually be better. Dang, I kind of want to try it now and see. Maybe if I get pulling M4 off someone, I'll do it for funsies.
Yeah. The other good find was I had people coming to stream being like, where'd you get that from? But I got quite lucky with Sniper Scav, because I was just like roaming around the top of the rocks. I killed a 2-man. I was like, we may as well go see if Sniper Scav's up there. And he had an SVD with the 3x9 scope on it. So we got like rocking the SVD as well, so we can play that if we want to play DMR. Like SVD is an absolute beast early wipe. Like
scary.
It's insane, man.
The
it's
sound
so good.
of an SVD going off, like it, sure would you think sure, but like any other map, you just think, oh my god, this guy ain't messing around. Like he's serious.
I know. It's insane. And early wipe, you're just like, if any of the bullets touch any of my limbs, they go black, and any armor is just going to get immediately disintegrated by basically any of the bullets. Although that maybe is slightly different now.
True. Segue.
Have you played with any of the new ammo yet?
No, but I have looked at it, and it's very interesting. I might have to pull it up again just to get a refresher. Do you know if they've actually changed any of the old ammos? It's like a better
They
question.
have indeed.
Oh my gosh, you have all the deets.
I have all the juicy details. I'll probably go into more detail on an actual video at some point.
Okay.
But for the time being, I guess we could go through like what has changed out of the old stuff first, if you prefer.
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe let's do that. That will be kind of interesting. Let me just grab my sheet up. So the 2 main big changes are It's basically subsonic bullets of various types.
Interesting.
It's not much. There's not much has changed, but it's practice. Okay, let's try and make this sensible. So there's a new round for. Let's start here. This is a good place to start before we go into all the staple stuff. There's a new round, JSPSX,
Yes.
for the MP7.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It has 46 flesh and 32 pen, which I was like, I saw that because Logical posted it, right? And I was like, I saw it, and my initial thought was, well, this is going to be just another useless round for the MP7 that no one uses, because 32 pen, Subsonic is 36 pen, and FMJ is 40 pen. So why would anybody use a JSPSX? Like, it's going to be at level 2, but no one really likes the MP7 at level 2 because you can only have 20 round mags, blah, blah, blah. Little did I know, they changed a Subsonic. It's one of the 4 rounds that they've adjusted. Subsonic has had its pen changed from 36 to, wait for it, 23.
Okay, I was thinking in the teens. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be really bad." But 23, it's still pretty bad.
It's still pretty bad.
So nothing else changed, just the pen.
They increased the damage from 45 to 52.
Okay, I mean it's something. It's not much, but at least they're consistent, right? Because there's kind of a trend like low damage, higher flesh, you know.
Yeah.
Or sorry, low pen, higher flesh. You know what I mean?
So JSP is now the middle bullet. I mean APSX actually, I guess technically, because now that's back. So JSP is now bullet number 3. It goes APSX at the top, FMJ, JSP, then Subsonic, and then the other one, whatever it's called.
Action stuff.
Action. Yeah, okay. Action. Yeah, I can't remember. Like, no one ever uses that bullet. So it's like, okay, I guess this is the new stacking round for FMJ. If you can't buy enough FMJ, I suppose. But
yeah,
it just seems kind of bad. I just think it now means that everyone will just use FMJ. FMJ is still wildly powerful. They didn't touch FMJ. It's still 40 pen. So, yeah, it's still by far the best round for the MP7.
Do you know if this has any bonuses? Like, does it have recoil reduction, accuracy?
It doesn't.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So that's that one. The other one that has been changed that is actually of note is the other subsonic round, which is the one for the P90. SB193. RIP to all the SB193 enjoyers out there.
Oh, was that the Tracer one?
It is the subsonic one.
Yeah.
Because you got SS190 is the pen one.
Right.
Now you have to craft it. SB193 was the one that you could buy.
It was like right below that.
It used to have, because SS190 was 37 pen. SB193 was 35 pen.
Okay.
But came with quite a decent recoil bonus of, I can't remember what it was before, but I think it's now 15, I think.
Okay.
It's still something though. So it's still something. But they've taken the pen from 35 down to 27. So it's still basically like, it's not as much as the other one, but 8 points is basically a class of armor, pretty much. It's nearly there, right?
Yeah.
So it went from 30% against class 4 to 50% against class 3.
It's not great.
And like 0 against class 4 on first shot. Slightly less relevant for the P90 because it fires so fast. So it's, most of the time, if you're in the right position with the P90, and you're trying to hit them in the face anyway. So I don't think it's necessarily a nerf for the P90 as much as it is for the 5.7. Because the 5.7 pistol doesn't have that rate of fire, right? And it relies on better ballistics to get the job done. And as per the video that I did last wipe, SS190 will not one tap a class 4 helmet from point blank because of the low damage. And now neither will 193. So if you're wearing a class 4 helmet, if they hit the helmet, it is now impossible to die to 5.7 bullets in one shot to the helmet.
Yeah.
It's impossible to die. So say you've got an LSHZ 2DTM on with an Aventail, you cannot die to one shot to the head. It's actually just impossible to die to one shot. from that caliber, which, yeah, it just means people will have to use. I mean, people still use it, I suppose, because you're still going for face taps with the 5.7.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a bit of a nerf to both of those.
I think it's okay. It's kind of weird now that the L191 is now sitting above 193. It just feels weird, but
It's
and you
weird to
unlock
watch.
it Peacekeeper 3, which is interesting. I need to pull
What,
up
193?
L191.
So L191 actually also got changed.
Oh, it did. Okay, interesting.
Very slightly. It actually just got its damage decreased from 58 to 53. No pen change. So yeah, the pen is still 33. But it's slightly lower damage than it was.
Slightly lower damage. Interesting. So yeah, this is kind of weird because I guess 193 is because okay, so the other thing that DSG did is they posted their patch 13.5 ammo spreadsheet, which I mean, I like them doing it. Just put the stats in the game. But anyways, they have the ruble amounts as well, and there's some interesting stuff from that I noticed. But yeah, anyways, they're kind of the same price. Yeah.
You get a big recall decrease for it. So it's
True.
Do you want to use L191 with 33
pen with a tracer,
or 27
subsonic with recoil reduction? Yeah.
So maybe it's probably better now. They also changed the other one, SS198LF, the one one of those ones that just no one uses.
Mm-hmm.
That had 10 pen and it now has 17 pen. So that got a buff from absolute garbage, never use, to still probably never use. And the damage got decreased from 74 to 70.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably a nerf because the pen is so low, you want as much damage as you can get. So because it's a leg meta bullet, because you're not shooting at armor. So you probably want that 4 damage actually, rather than the 7 pen. You probably don't care about 7 pen, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you do care about going from what was it 10 to 17 is early wipe, but
and early you just can't use the guns.
Yeah, it's such a hard niche. Probably 0.001% population gets to use a P90 with that ammo on day 1 of the wipe or day 2 or day 3 or whatever. When people have P.A.C.As more often than not. So
yeah. So then the other 2 outside of the staple stuff, which we'll just talk about in a second, we've kind of gone in reverse order, interesting and exotic to start with. The other 2 is 300 Blackout CBJ.
Yes.
This is the ammo that people have been asking for ages.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically M62 is 5.6A1 for 5.56.
Right.
Blackout AP is like M9M5, kind of.
Right.
See, the 8.55A1 was just missing from the MPX and from 300 Blackout. CBJ is this 58 flesh and 43 pen. It's very similar to 5.5A1. Hopefully you'll be able to buy that, and then you can combine it with crafted 300 Blackout AP. And that's the way that M9M5 and 8.55A1 work together. But 58 flesh and 43 pen is really it's good. It's really quite good. Whether I think it's still going to be good or not, I don't know. I keep trying the MPX, and it's just MCX, and it's just I just can't make it work. But compare it to 5.5A1, right? 5.5A1 has got 49 damage and 44 penetration, and 5.5A1 is really good. This has got 58 flesh and 43 pen. So it's basically got the same pen for all intents and purposes. Because 44 and 43 don't matter. We've talked about this before. It insta pens class 4, and 44 and 43 are low pen chances against class 5. So you need multiple shots. So if you've got 43 or 44, it's kind of much of a muchness, right? Because you're outside of the sort of peak period. So what this really makes it it's a little bit, again, it's a bit like the way Blackout AP should work with 51 damage and 48 pen. It's a bit like BP with 5.5A1's pen.
Right.
It's got the same damage as BP, actually. And a slightly worse pen than 5.5A1, because BP's got 47 pen, which is why it's so cracked. But it's going to be interesting to see. I'll have to run some simulations on that and see what that's going to do.
Right.
So time to kill for class 5. Against class 4, it's an easy 2-tap.
Should be.
Which is actually pretty strong.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to think about it. But yeah, I just find it's very unwieldy, that gun, because you just can't mod it enough. That's the problem. So I still think you won't be able to use it. But
it's a tricky problem. I mean, I doubt you'll be able to buy it, but if you can, it says here it's for 360 rubles, which is pretty cheap considering what you're getting.
we can check.
Yeah, let's do that.
We can check in raid. Blackout CBJ. This item is available at loyalty level 3 with Skier.
Oh, snap, Giga.
That's quite early.
Dude, I mean,
Skier
360. I mean, for context, right? As we just said, 55A1, it's kind of like similar as to this round.
Except this is technically a bit better.
Right. You could buy, according to this sheet, you could buy for 784 rubles. Whether or not you can actually buy it or not for that amount.
In game, it says 414 rubles.
Which one? The
CBJ.
Okay, interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some fluctuation.
And 150 limit. So you could buy 150 of these.
That's still pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically paying like
good.
Yeah, the ratio for like the pin value to the ruble value is really good.
Dude, this might be really good.
Yeah.
Peacekeeper 3 for Blackout M62 Tracers. Skier 3, because what's Peacekeeper? Peacekeeper. Can't remember the
Peacekeeper
level 3 traders. I always forget. Peacekeeper 3 is level 23. Skier 3 is level 28. So you get to, if you get to Peacekeeper 3 at level 23 and then you jump yourself up to level 28, you could be running split mags of M62
split. Yeah,
and CBJ.
Yeah.
It's only 440 rubles in the MCX. You're going to shred everybody.
Yeah,
level 28. Dude, this is great. I didn't even think of this.
Yeah, I mean, you still gotta keep it. Well, there is one, a couple cons. One, you have a 5% additional recoil. Not much, but it's something, right? And then it's the MCX. It's kind of it's like a unwieldy AK. Or I don't know. Maybe that's not fair. It's kind of like unwieldy M4 actually. It's probably as effective as a fully modded MCX is probably similar to like a stock M4, or maybe not that extreme, but it's when you like the MCX, I think you can do like a barter at level 2, and then you can start
level 2 Skier barter,
buying it at level 3 fresh.
There's a level 3. I don't know if this was like here before. I'm not sure if this was the case previously. There's a level 3 purchase at 95k, so it's expensive, but it'll be on the flea cheaper than that because no one likes the gun. This is the thing. You can buy the MCX. You can unlock the MCX at level 15 because it's on the flea.
It's true.
And it'll be on the flea. Guaranteed. Because people will find it boxes, put it up there. And because of the ammo and because it's the only gun that uses that ammo, people won't want to use it.
Right.
And they won't have thought about it yet until I make a video. Some people will, but most people won't look into it until then. There is a lower on Skier.
Oh.
I don't think I've seen this before. I don't think so.
A new attachment?
Burns durability. It's a lower, like the red like base piece. So you can refresh it.
Oh,
if you
gotcha.
And it's only 24k.
I don't know if that is. That might be new. What's Skier 3?
I feel like it's new. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of in agreement with you.
You know what's one fun thing is you can normally go like MCX Tarkov wiki, and then if you go on it, they haven't updated it yet. Usually. Yeah, so it's new.
Yeah,
because it says sold by Skier level 3 standard, and then there's the barter Skier level 2 in the page, but they haven't updated it yet. So you could cross-reference, like you could utilize the wiki, like the fact that it takes some time to update to cross-reference a lot of the time, unless it's something really basic, like if it's the ammo chart or something. It was like LPS. LPS still says Prapor 1 with a big warning on the page saying things are being updated, so don't believe everything that you see here. You can kind of use it as like a change log. In some ways, like look at what's in game and look at what's on the wiki, because that's like the old stuff from last wipe. So yeah, that's new. So they're trying to give the MCX a bit of love here. But dude, I think this could be a mid-game shredder.
Could be.
Like compare against M85501, right? You need Peacekeeper 4. Get access to that.
Yeah.
This is a real big change. Level 27 versus level 37 is enormous.
Yeah. And
it's basically better. Yeah. And at that mid-game level as well, you're not running into people with like meta M4s. So like the MCX will fall off once people reach the end game. But in the mid game, the thing could be cracked because people will still be using 5.6A1. And you could defend against 5.6A1 using class 5. You can't defend against CBJ with class 5. Not really. Like you can, sort of. It'll stop the first shot. After that, you'll be going straight through, I think. I'm excited. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
The other trying to say okay, yeah, it's this is the weird thing about it is like its convergence is really good at 2
Doesn't
for
seem
like
to help.
yeah. But like I mean, it's like the weird contradiction of it. It's like at 2 convergence, it's like you're starting like 2 and above, you're starting to get that territory where like single tapping is pretty nice.
Hmm.
But it's MCX, so like you want to full and dispergence is 15, which isn't great. That's kind of like standard. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
We'll give it a shot for sure, though.
Yeah. So outside of that, 9x19 has a new bullet. They haven't really given 9x19 much love, but PST got moved up to traders level 2 wipes ago, I believe. And there was nothing. Basically, if you ran out, you had to just use PSO or try and buy a top fence. They've added a new bullet called FMJ M882, which is 56 flesh and 18 pen. So it's very similar to PST. It's like they moved PST and then gave us PST back.
That's fun, yeah.
Which is kind of weird, because PST is let me find it. PST is 54 damage and 20 pen. This thing is 56 damage and 18 pen. Like they're so similar. 20 pen and 18 pen, both pen packers, and class 2's fine, but not class 3. They're functionally they're the same bullet.
Really, yeah, they're very, very close. Yeah,
it's like a little progression curve, but it's very similar. And that's Peacekeeper 1.
Oh, okay. So you do get, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So 822 is Peacekeeper 1. So that's the new like good bullet for 9mm. I say good when kind of it's all relative in inverted commas. And then you got the staples. You got the 7.62s. Basically had a load of other rounds added, cartridges added, because last wipe they got rid of PS and they got rid of T45 and moved it up to Prapor 2, leaving us just with HP, which sucked. So everyone stopped using 7.62 at the start, right?
Yeah.
And everyone moved over to 7.62 by 54R because you could buy LPS at Prapor 1 and everyone just used the Mosin. Right? There was a huge Mosin wave at the beginning, if you remember from last wipe. It was just like everyone was using the Mosin and it fell. It was crazy. So then they've moved LPS to Prapor 2 now as well. But then for 7.62, we now have SP and FMJ, which are better than HP, but not as good as like T45. So SP is 68 flesh and 20 pen. FMJ is 63 flesh and 26 pen. So you've got like a 20 pen option, a 26 pen option, and then T45 is, God, I can't remember now. Is it like 34 or something? Let me just find it on the chart. Oh, it's only 30. Yeah. So it goes 20, 26, 30, and then PS has got 35. Oh, yes, it's because they buffed PS. That was why, yeah, like a couple of wipes ago. So SP, I think, is just kind of useless. It's only got 5 more damage, but you lose 6 pen. Like, no one's going to do that. So you just use FMJ. It's got 26 pen, which is a 50-50 against class 3. So that's pretty good, and you can buy that from the trader. So FMJ, 7.62 by 39 FMJ is the new 7.62 AK staple, because it's a level 1 purchase. And then when you find either T45 or PS on scavs, you just use that instead. Or you top load it, top bottom with PS. And that's what I've been doing. Just buy like a load of FMJ and do 10 rounds versus 20 in the bottom of your 30 round mags. And then for 7.62 early game, that used to be LPS as the lowest one, basically LPS and T46M. They were both amazing rounds. So they've pushed both of those up to Prapor 2 as well. And they've added, again, they've added HP, SP, and FMJ for that too. So it's the same. Like 7.62 by 39 and 7.62 by 54 now have the same 3 base rounds. HP, SP, and FMJ. And again, I mean, it depends on what you want, right? Like, it goes HP with 23 pen, SP with 27 pen, FMJ with 33 pen. I feel like you probably go for 33 pen. I mean, you could go for 27, I suppose. Like, the difference in this one, it's actually more of a choice because the flesh damage scales quite dramatically, right? Like, the flesh on the HP round is 102 with 23 pen. And then the middle one, SP, is 92 flesh with 27 pen. and then the FMJ is 84 flesh with 33 pen. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm not sure. Like between SP and FMJ, I think it is actually kind of a choice there.
I think so.
It's probably much of a muchness. I feel like you're probably not killing anyone in class 3 in one hit with SP, just because of its
Right.
because it's pens 50-50. You probably lose 15% of the damage, I would think.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less, maybe 12%
Wait,
or
you're
something.
talking about 762 by 39. We're still on that.
I'm talking about 762 by 54 now because they both got the same. But yeah, but 762 by 54, like so to get to 85 thorax HP threshold, you only need to lose 7%. Yeah, you only need to lose 8%. So I don't think you might not even be penning and killing class 2, honestly, with SP. It's just like the easy choice is to just pick the one with the high pen. If someone's wearing a class 3 helmet, you will kill them in one shot using 54R FMJ. They will die. If you pick SP, maybe you get a thorax shot because of the increased damage, but you might ding a helmet, you know? It's one of those things. Like, do you pick consistency? Probably.
God, this just
there's loads of them now. So the early game bullets for all of these big calibers now goes HP for hollow point, SP for whatever SP stands for. This soft point or something? I don't even know what SP stands for. I think it's soft point. And then FMJ. And then the usual stuff that we know after that. You know. T46 versus T45, LPS versus PS, blah blah blah. So early game, I think you just pick FMJ for both. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The PS one is really, God, what is it?
You mean
SP is really tempting. Yeah. I mean, that 92 damage looks pretty good.
You think like, oh, if someone's wearing no armor, they will die in one hit.
Or like a P.E.K.K.A, but
I don't even know with the P.E.K.K.A. This is the thing.
Yeah, I feel like damage mitigation plus any like meaningful distance, like 50 meters, it's kind of feel like it's iffy.
I know. This is the question.
At any rate,
I want to see if I can change my thing. I'll try. In the background, I'm just gonna be fiddling with my little spreadsheet, and I'm gonna try and. Actually, but I guess I could just. I could just like manually plug the number in, and we can see what it comes out at. So, what were we saying? So the damage is 92. Actually, let me get a P.E.K.K.A up. Let me get class 2 up. It doesn't really matter which one it is. Yeah, P.E.K.K.A. Take P.E.K.K.A. So the damage you said is 92, and the pen is 27. I think you only hit 77. I don't think you can pen a P.E.K.K.A and kill them.
That's so sad.
I don't think it will work. And it's the same thing with HP. 102 flesh, 23 pen. I think you're hitting 73, even from point blank.
Looks like they're doing that across the board with all the, it's like absolutely nothing can one tap anyone wearing anything.
Yeah, except for class 3 and AP out of 366. Basically it. And Lapua. It's the only two that can really do it.
I guess, yeah, you can with 366 if they're wearing class 3.
If you're wearing class 3, they can't be wearing class 4. Class 4 it will not do. It's too much mitigation.
What was the other one you said?
Lapua Magnum. Of any type.
But that's
it just does so much damage. And the Ash, actually. The Ash 12 will do it with PS12 big through class 4. Right. Like, that will kill them.
Yeah. Anyways.
I think it's good. Like, Thorax one taps, like, you don't want them too much in the game. I think it's fine. You give people a shot, right?
I just feel like
headshot's fine, but like Thorax, you don't get one tap.
I feel like we're going for realism. I shoot you with a freaking bolt action.
Don't even bring up the R word. Don't even bring it up.
My bad, dude. I'm sorry. Everyone, please forgive
How do you expect yourself to sew yourself up in 20 seconds? Where's the gift of the,
You know what I would like is a heart hitbox. If I hit you with a big bullet in the heart hitbox, boom. Like I want that critical roll. You know what I mean? We don't have like that critical roll.
That maybe makes sense with the armor plate system. I can maybe get on board with that with the armor plate system.
That would be interesting. Armor plates and using this new was it BTSP, whatever it's called? That would be interesting.
BTSP?
Yeah, whatever the one we're talking about.
these
That's
things.
92.
Oh, yeah.
Against the armor plates. Yeah. It's like, what the heck? Is that some kind of
the
armor
ammo
system?
types. Yeah, I was like, what is this? Some kind of like armor model, or that I'm not aware of? Yeah, no, you're talking about just different ammo types. Yeah, then it makes more of a difference and is more possible. But...
So one, I noticed you're getting to it, but I noticed you skipped, unless I missed it, 762 by 39 SP.
PP.
SP.
I missed out PP.
Oh,
on purpose.
PP.
Yeah,
dude, I can't stand these freaking letters, dude. God damn it.
We've covered HP, SP, and FMJ, and all the standards. But 762 by 39 has added a new bullet that lots of people have been calling for a very long time, and I am slightly worried about, and I'm not sure if the caliber needed it per se.
Hot take alert.
Maybe. I can see where people are coming from.
Sure.
Okay, so let's put it this way, right? Previously, 762 by 39 went from basically PS to BP. So it went from 57 damage and 35 pen to 58 damage and 47 pen in one jump.
Okay,
yeah, quite
the next
unusual.
Tier up.
Yeah, it's quite unusual how wide that gap was.
Fair.
And lots of people have said, we need something in the middle to make AK, like 762 AKs perform in that mid tier. And I think maybe I can sort of see the argument.
Okay.
So they've added 762 by 39 PP, which, if you remember from 545, it goes PS, PP, BP. So in the same vein,
right? Okay.
PP here, which is an enhanced penetration round, is 55 flesh. So it's actually less than both of them, with 41 pen. So it sits pretty much exactly in the middle. It's 35 plus 6 to 41 plus 6 to 47. It's right in the middle. But 41 pen is like right in that sweet spot of being absolutely perfect, which maybe worries me a little bit, right? It's got the same pen as M80. Like M80 is really good, right? And the just people, class 4 is also just a staple of the game. So PP is going to be absolutely cracked. It's Prapor 3. I've already checked this one. So it's it'll be available early-ish.
Yeah.
It does fill this gap. But the issue that I have with it, I actually think this is probably okay for the most part. But the main problem that I have with it is that it's going to make the end game 762 BP that much more powerful, right? BP is already amazing, and you have to stack it with PS. That's kind of its downside.
For stacking, yeah.
Now you can stack BP with PP.
Which is pretty good.
And so you're not constrained anymore by the BP ammo craft. Nowhere near as much.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
Right? Because 762 by 39 now is a bit like the 300 Blackout, but the guns and the ammo is so good, people just use BP anyway. And now they've progressioned 762 by 39. So now it's actually, you could argue it is more accessible because lots of people late game won't use PS and only will use BP. So they get kind of like bottlenecked by their own hideout production, right? Yeah, normally it's either or. And I do a bit of stacking with PS, but it's really not ideal. But now with PP, you could just make that BP go so much further. You can craft like one set of BP and you could use 2 times the amount of PP to supplement it. And you're getting basically you're getting very similar performance, right? Like this won't, I don't think this will 2-tap a class 5 like BP will. But you're in the 3-tap for sure.
A class 5, you say?
Yeah, because BP has a 50.
You'd have to get super lucky.
BP has a 50% chance of just 2-shotting people.
Right.
Because it's like the first shot is
a little 50-50.
Is a 50-50, and then the second shot is actually way higher than that because the armor's damaged. But that's, it's like so it's 50-50, and then like, it's actually slightly more than 50-50 because it's 47. I think it's like 55. Yeah. So it's like 55 and then like 80%. So it ends up being like 48% or something. I don't know. I can't do it off the top of my head. It's like 45% or something. It's like roughly half the time you 2-shot somebody wearing a class 5. So this won't be the same because it's not quite the same metrics, but like 3-shot is very, very possible. And even if you just have like one bullet of BP in the top and you hit them with that, like the PP will probably kill them.
Dang, I mean, you're right. If you could 3-hit class 5 with that caliber, man, I wonder if it's like 25. We have to do some calculations. I wonder what the starting chances.
Dude, it's going to be so strong.
And you may not even whether it pins or not may not even matter because maybe the damage absorbed will be enough to get like. What if it just mirrors?
Shot might kill you.
What if it just mirrors BP, but it's just a prerequisite of one extra bullet needs to land? Like once that bullet lands, it goes to a 50 or 55 chance.
It may well be. It'll depend on the armor, but so it's according to the flea interface, it's at level 3 and it costs 900 rubles a bullet, so it is expensive.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes a lot.
Spicy.
Yeah, that changes a lot.
Like PS is 145 rubles.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing is literally like 6 times the price.
Hey, how much is PS?
145.
Oh, okay.
And this thing is the PP is 900.
Yeah, that's.
So, but it's a baller bullet. It really is. So I mean,
yeah. I don't know.
Someone in chat was saying like, we're talking about class 5 on day 2 of the wife. I'm just like, I'm looking forwards, you know.
Right.
I'm looking forwards. We're predicting meta trends. This is where you come. If you want to be, you know, on thinking ahead. This is where you want to come. You know? Is 900 really that expensive though? Someone else says. I would argue not really.
Yeah, I mean,
and you could even go 10 10 10 if you really want to, you know, script your money.
Just when
10 PS, 10 PP, 10 BP.
When I hear 400 rubles for a class 4 penetrator, that CBJ, that's like, well, dude, that's really good. That's the thing I'm compared to. But in fairness, that's probably I think
900 is probably the right price.
Yeah, it's better. Definitely more expensive. It needs, you know, it's good that it's a little bit on the high side, probably, based off what we think our assumptions of its effectiveness is going to be.
Yeah. Yes, we will see. We will see. So I don't really know yet. But yeah, I mean that's all the ammos. I think I don't think there's anything. Oh yes, there's 1270 Piranha. They added another shotgun ammo.
Is it flesh damage or is it like flechettes?
It's, as far as we can tell, it's basically mini flechette.
Okay, because I looked.
I don't know why anyone would use it.
I saw it was like a razor bladed, like razor edge sharp things, or you know, I looked at the real life brand or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, this might be like flechettes or might be like flesh damage rounds.
The description is this 12 gauge round contains dozens of razor sharp steel tacks that blast out at a high velocity, which virtually guarantees there will be no response from the perpetrator. Each round is buffed with 12 shot, thus creating a double shock to the wound area. I don't know what that means. Absolutely will not harm your shotgun. To be used no closer than 10 feet and no further than 50. Which is I think it's just a funny thing. But the one interesting part about this, so Flechette has 31 pen with 26 armor damage, which is why it's so destructive to armor. This has 24 pen and 22 armor damage. So it's, you know, it's in the same ballpark, but it has 10 darts rather than 8. It's kind of intriguing at 25 damage. So it actually does more damage. It's got rather than being a 200 damage hit, it's a 250 damage hit. But the armor damage is lower. I still think you probably want to just go with Flechette, honestly, because you want as much armor busting as you can get away with, I reckon. But they're probably going to be very similar.
Yeah, actually. I would imagine.
Well, saying that, I don't really know. Because having 2 more, if you hit them with the full salvo, having 2 more darts might make up for it from the armor damage perspective. It might be worth
right, because you're getting more.
Yeah, I could get more darts on target.
In theory.
Yeah, maybe.
More yeah.
How do you even spell piranha? Piara. Oh, I can't even see it. Yeah, maybe it's not even a. Maybe it's not a purchasable thing.
Maybe try 12/70.
Yeah, I'm gonna try linked searching like a 153.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find it in here. I don't see it.
Maybe it's
So
found
they're either
right
going to add
only?
it later or it's found in raid only. I think it might be.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I don't have any filters or anything, so. Not available on traders at the moment. Fascinating. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of calculating and see what that does. See whether that's actually good or not, whether the 2 extras make up for it. I think given that there's 2 extra darts, it'll probably end up being much the same. If anything. But yeah, I guess we'll see, won't we? We'll see. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think these changes are good. I like the ammo changes.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is kind of dread having more ammos added to the game, but at the same time, the other part of me is like, there's like tiers within tiers within tiers. I kind of like, it's just a lot. It's just all the P's and the S's and the B's and the T's and the R's. It's just a lot of shit to remember, man. They all look the exact same half the time, anyways.
There is a lot to remember for sure. It's
yeah, it's just like God. Do you need a second monitor, on hand, or just alt tabbing constantly while you're looting or in the menus trying to figure out what you're gonna bring, what to buy? It's
one of those funny things. It's kind of fun for me,
yeah,
knowing all the ammos and being like, oh, these things they've added them in places where it makes sense though, right? So it feels kind of okay,
Yeah.
right? Like there was outside of the 76254R, like from LPS, there was just nothing below it.
right.
So it meant that they was either like inaccessible or viciously OP.
Pretty
So
much.
I feel like that's just kind of good. And the same thing with 762x39, right? They've tried to deal with it a little bit in that sense. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I like it. I think it's good. Yeah, I've just managed to. I've got a Corund up. Okay. All right. So in theory, Corund. I'm actually surprised. I wonder why this is. I guess it's because of the low initial pen chance. Yeah, because this is the deal, right? So PP. Have I even done the right one here? I have. Yeah, because 41 pen is not very good against class 5. Like we're talking like 41 versus 47 is like night and day.
Yeah.
So your pen chance is really low initially, and like as we've talked about before, right? Like the pen chance impacts armor damage. So the armor damage percentage is one thing, and the pen is another thing. But those two things actually like play off each other. It's like a multiple kind of situation. So if you had 1,000% armor damage, but you had 1 pen, you're still going to do no damage. Like you need a bit of both. Like the best ammos do a bit of both, which is why Flechette works quite well. So with 41 pen, you actually don't do anywhere near as much armor damage as you might think. It's like a lot less. I mean, actually, let me just look at this. So the armor damage to a Corund, you should do something like 13.4 points. If it was 47 pen, you'd do like 17. So you're talking like a 50% increase in armor damage going from 41 to 47 pen. Like it's really big deal. It's kind of I think it's exponential. I think it relies on pen twice or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that means if you shoot a Corund with PP, it's not as brutal as it seems, but I mean it's still very, very good. If you shoot a Corund, you're going to take it from 45, and this is the Corund, like the lowest, it's the lowest durability class 5 armor. You're going to take from 45 to 31. Your initial pen chance is 13.
Oh wow!
I was really like you're basically not going to pen
like
them.
8 or 9%.
Yeah. I guess it's still pretty low. But you shoot them, 31.6 is what you end up at, and the second shot is still 32%. So it's still not guaranteed. And your blunt damage is like 11, 12, something like that. They've actually increased blunt damage, so my thing's like slightly wrong. I'm not sure exactly how much they did it by. I think it was like 10%. What people were saying. So maybe I'd need to adjust that slightly, but it's still quite low. So you're talking like shot 3 is still only a third. Shot 4 is like 2/3. So maybe it's balanced. Maybe it's all right. Yeah, so that's only going to get worse as I make the vests better. If you go up to the Gazelle, you go up to the Gen 4s or whatever, you're talking like a lot of shots versus BP. But like as a mixture, maybe it's okay. Like BP stacked with PP under is still going to be really powerful.
Even on its own, it's not that good. Like you would go up against guys with class 5 and you would have PS, God forbid you had US ammo. Like if you had US ammo, oh hell nah. It's just not happening, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing about this, right, is that it's Prapor 3. At that point, how many people are running Class 5 every raid? Like, very few. And if you're running up against somebody with, let's say, I don't know, the Rat Rig,
Sure.
it's a 2-shot, 85%.
Oh, no way, dude. Dang. That's
And
scary,
that's why it's
man.
going to be good, because we're talking Class 5 at Prapor 3, which is... but you're going to, like, if you come across anyone wearing Class 4, people wear Class 4 all the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Most
85%
abundant
against the
armor in the
Trooper as
game.
well. Yeah, it's the most abundant armor. People wear this all the way through the wipe, even at the end.
Yeah.
Not everyone wears Class 5. Like, a lot of people don't get onto Class 5 for ages. So PP Prepper 3 is gonna slap. And in the mid game, you can do PPPS stacking.
Yeah.
It's perfect. There's
Just
you can
nice.
tier up into this, right? Like, yeah, it costs 900 rubles, sure, but you could put like 6 of them at the top of each mag.
Dude, frick it. Let's go the full mile, right? Why stop there? Let's go PP, PS, T45, FMJ, SP, US, HP. Let's go, dude. Let's get the full raid.
On that topic, so I know that they said, I don't know actually, where was it on the roadmap? They said this ammo loading was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the next patch?
I think so.
Let me see, because I have an interesting thing that I haven't tried. Yeah, preset magazine ammo loading, right? That's in the December patch. But, and I haven't tested this, so if it's wrong, don't crucify me. But somebody said in chat that they tested it. This is yesterday. And you can set up a preset.
Oh my god.
A loadout preset with the ammo in the right order.
Oh my god.
And it remembers.
Thank God.
So you don't actually need, and you know, in some ways that's almost better, because you could set up like 3 mags with the rainbow, and then you say go. You know, this is my, like, there's nothing else on your PMC, and this is one of my 50 presets. It's an ammo loading preset.
Right.
And you just press the go button and it fills all your mags for you. I've not tried it yet.
Smart. Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty smart. I was like, huh, that's very cool, actually.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
I kind of wish you didn't need the stuff to build the presets beforehand, unless I'm missing something.
No, you're quite right. I also agree. Because yeah, if you go into the list of kits, I don't know if you can,
like, we're you know, I kind of hate saying
change anything.
I kind of hate saying that, you know, bear in mind, because it's like we're like,
okay.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, it's nice, but at the same time, you know, it's like I like that going in the raid, finding those items and building my ultimate AK, but you know, at the same time, we're already like in this pseudo extremely complicated Call of Duty create a class system. We might as well go the full mile. Just everything I unlock, like, can include the trader stuff in there, you know. It's like one less step. You know.
I know what you mean. I think it's fine. On the basis that, like, you're only going to want to set this stuff up for things that you can buy.
Right. On the regular. From like traders, probably.
Yeah. It just doesn't really make sense otherwise. And like maybe the flea for certain parts. So it's, I don't know. I think it's okay on that basis. Have you played around yet with, because I actually forgot about this and then only noticed it sort of at the latter end of yesterday. And it's not that important now because we're doing kind of like mixed up this and that and we don't have much stored up. But on each body part, you now have a little drop down. And you click it and you can just look at all the stuff that you've got available. It's so cool.
But I have to change my keybinds to release, is it?
Like, I don't mean that. I mean in the inventory. So say you're in your stash and you're gearing up.
Oh, yeah.
Your body armor. Body armor has got the little arrow on it.
Yeah.
You click body armor and it shows you all the body armors in your stash.
That's really nice. Yeah. I like that a lot.
It's really cool. And there's a search bar.
Yeah.
There's a search bar, too.
I mean, honestly, I was pretty impressed. So, yeah.
Hey, look at that.
Someone needs a raise, whoever did that. Just they did really a good job.
And you can switch the UI from list versus pictures.
Yeah.
As well. Man, it's really well designed.
Yeah. It is. I mean, you know,
I don't know what's happened.
If we're going to be critical.
Is this the end? is this the end of Tarkov?
Perhaps.
Because maybe there's a change in company ethos. And like maybe that's the secret sauce, and now it's all going to fall apart. Literally, this is it.
What do you think about
This is the pinnacle.
the trader UI now that you've got to use it a bit?
It's going to take me a while.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
I'm still hitting escape, but apparently you can just press tab to toggle between inventory and trader, which is like, has that always been a thing?
Yes. Sort of. Yeah. Yes, it has. Yeah.
Okay.
I wish that they had gotten rid of the trader screen in the middle. I don't know why that's there. So you go trading, and then there's the picture of there's the 8 pictures.
You might as well just take me to like prepper as a default.
Yeah, just take me to the full trader screen. Like there's no, it's kind of stupid.
Okay.
I mean, it's better. Yeah. I wish that there were hotkeys for buy and sell for the 2 tabs. So I can navigate those without clicking buy sell with my mouse. Spacebar to sell and buy is good.
Yeah.
Is good. And I almost would quite like hotkeys for the traders themselves, like 1 to 8.
Maybe even like Q cycles left, E cycles right.
Or that would also be quite good. Yeah.
I guess you could do arrow keys, but that's probably not because you have to take your hand off your mouse. That's not very efficient.
Yeah, so 1 to 8 to go direct, Q and E to cycle. That would be quite nice.
Yeah, you could do both even. Yeah.
And then,
oh my god, that'd be great.
Buy and sell. Yeah, do both, and then
because you can just click trader, hit 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so maybe Q and E to cycle traders, and A and D to cycle buy versus sells.
Let's do WASD. You move a little selector around on the grid of the trader, so you memorize. Okay, it's 5 S's and 2 D's, and then space, and then wait, I gotta hit 4 prior to that, and then to hit E once, and you're just like sitting there, like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah,
let's go, boys. I'm loading it. Oh god.
Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, I mean, I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it feels great, right?
And you would get used to it as well as time goes on, and you get quicker and quicker, and eventually people are like, "What are you even pressing?" And you're just like, "I don't know. I'm one with the machine." You know, it's just how it.
It's like watching.
Computer is an extension of my body.
Yeah, it's like watching Landmark go through the trailers. He whizzes through them. Like he has every pixel memorized, so he just knows where to click. Like it can't even load fast enough. He's already clicking on it.
I know, like that even happens to me sometimes. But like Landmark and like Tiggs and like a few of the other guys, like they use I'm pretty quick at the inventory, and sometimes chatters comment on my inventory usage. Like those guys are like literally twice the speed that I use the inventory. It's absolutely insane. But I'm a big keyboard guy. Like I'm not really a big like ESC click. Like it just feels awful. Like, I'm a big hotkeys man. So like if you had hotkeys, we'd be flying, boys. We'd be flying.
Yeah. So, someone should make a Reddit thread, perhaps. I really like the numbers and the Q&E and what was the other thing?
Numbers, Q&E, and then like A and D for buy and sell tabs, because the buy and sell tabs are underneath. So you could do A and D for those.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
And then Q&E for the traders, 1 to 8 for the traders directly, because there's more of them. So the scroll doesn't completely encapture all degrees of freedom within selection.
It's like we're playing.
If they did that,
we're playing Dota 2 because you got the mouse to click on. Click on the game and you got the hotkeys to press your trader abilities. Toggle your power trades.
It's exactly like that. Exactly. So I like it. The one thing that kind of puts me off about the trader menu is that there's like a really weird picture of like my PMC in the top right. And it just reminds me of just like how terrible my character looks half the time when I dress them up. I'm just like sock over the head with a tin hat. I'm like, oh no, I look really bad.
The render looks like awkward to me, and I can't quite put my maybe it's because they're facing head on. I'm not sure, but it just
maybe because it looks way better in the overall screen.
Yeah,
you know?
It just looks slightly uncanny, and I'm not sure if it's like.
Oh, it's because it's low textures, I think.
Is that it's like it's either like the lighting or like it almost looks like it's in a different engine. It was like put in, it just looks, I don't know. It's not like a ruin my day thing,
You've just reminded me, right? I was playing Streets yesterday, and so I played Streets at the end of the stream. And I'd had the game open for 6 hours or something.
Uh-oh.
And we tried loading into Streets, and MIP streaming just completely fell over. Right, MIP streaming just stopped working entirely. every texture was rendered in low, like the lowest possible texture. And so many people were just like, what's this PS2 game you're playing? it was so funny. Everything was just like super blurry. Like it looked really bad. Because like MIP streaming previously, where I managed to like get the sweet spot on my system, textures like, and sometimes like billboards and stuff are kind of low quality, but like I don't really care. Like they offer the distance, it's background stuff. I'm really not that fast. But all the stuff near you is pretty good. Like if you just stick low textures on, for example, and you go into the gun modding thing, the gun is like, it looks like it's out of, one of the mobile games or something, which is just really bad. But if you've got MIP streaming on, it loads the highest quality texture because it's like right in front of you. So usually that makes the game like actually pretty good. But yeah, yesterday it just completely stopped swapping textures entirely, and it looked so bad, man. It looked so bad. I don't know whether this is because like my system was just saying, this is really not optimized, and I just can't switch. There's just not enough RAM or memory or whatever. There's like not even enough memory to fit low textures inside your GPU VRAM. So I don't know. Something weird's going on. Like Streets is kind of busted anyway. Like I had a one raid, I had 30 FPS, which was pretty bad in the new expansion. Like, have you played Streets? The new Streets thing? Have you tested it?
I tested and I played one raid. Yeah.
Okay.
And the test wasn't good because it was like 45, but I did as online, so to be expected. The CPU is like getting giga stress. Plus, I was like, streaming and playing the game as well. And then I think online it was like getting 60 once, like like at the start it was good, and it starts like falling down really fast. Like 2 minutes, and then it sits in the 60s and it goes down 50. But it's
not good, dude. It's not good.
I probably won't be playing Streets.
Yeah. I had 60 offline with no bots.
Ooh, that's really bad. See, I think something's messed up because I was watching Abney Dude play, and he's got like the top of the line Intel CPU latest. I mean, this thing, like, it just full throttles, and it just puts off massive amount of heats, right? I mean, it's a beast. And he was getting like 130, I think was like his highest, right? When he first loaded in. When he first loaded in. By halfway through, well, after 2 minutes, he was at like 75. So that's like a 50%. Like, that's pretty massive, dude. That's really bad.
And I think, that somebody, like, I haven't watched any of his stream, but somebody was saying that Pestily on his was also like down at, I think he was at 90, and then I think it might have come even a bit lower or something, and Pestily runs like, I don't even know if he has like a 3 PC setup or something, and his gaming rig is like, the super, like NASA supercomputer or whatever, right. And it runs Streets at like 90. Like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know what they've done with the expansion, but like, it's really, the performance before was like needing some work.
Sure.
And with the expansion, it's killed it. Like, I hope it's something, something obvious where they need to just like tweak something or whatever, because it's just, I'm actually quite disappointed about the performance, because like, it shouldn't, if the culling is working, it shouldn't make any difference.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder how much the allegedly extra stuff, like players and AI, let me say that I'm kind of leaning more towards like there's a bug, quote unquote. Have you experienced or seen this? And I actually have it, but I was watching Abney Dude stream, and he, his Streets lighting looked very good. Is like the word we would say, right? Like, it looked good, like it was clear. But I noticed as he was moving, there was shadows being rendered up close, but like there was a radius, like you could draw a perfect radius circle. Okay,
I get that.
Your head. And okay, see, I don't think I got that. Like, and I don't know if it's exclusive. I know it's not exclusive to Streets, because I was watching. Was it Abney Dude on customs? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I don't think I have that happening on mine.
What setting do you have your shadows at?
I think it's at high.
I have my shadows on low.
Okay. See, I think that might be it then. I was trying to narrow that down.
But it means that it's a bit like the way Interchange used to be, where you couldn't see people close up in the basement. But if they were far away,
yeah, but
you could see them.
This looks like it's unintentionally bugged because it looks pretty extreme. Like it's
like it was for me. It was
illuminating.
Like it was literally like night and day inside the reserve building. So if someone was at the end of the building, it was as if they were in broad daylight.
Okay.
Yeah. I had that.
Interesting. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you think if you're sitting in the dark corner and you feel like you're safe, you may not necessarily be safe. Because dude, I saw that. I'm like, yeah, it looks good. And I looked at it more. I was like, okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. This looks like a bug. And then I thought about somewhere. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna ruin. Like, you're gonna think you're gonna have those deaths where it's like, how do you see me? And it's like, yeah,
it's interesting. So I don't know. We'll see. That's certainly a bug, though. I'm pretty sure.
But it sounds like based off what you said and what I've seen and thought about, it's not related to Streets performance.
Yeah, I don't think so. How many cans of food have you eaten in your stash yet because of double click to consume?
Okay, well, I didn't play, minute one of the wipes, so I got all the tweets and notifications and stuff. So first thing I did when I booted the game is I disabled that. So 0 is my count.
I've left it on because I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be useful eventually. And I'm in a big mode of let's adapt and just get used to stuff.
Is there like do you know if there's like a cooldown? Because my fear is like I'm gonna go to like click something, like I just want to drag something and then I accidentally double click and I consume it or whatever it is. That's my biggest fear.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean I had 2 moments.
There's gotta be a cooldown.
I had 2 moments which were insane for this, right? Because I just double click on stuff. It's like it's not even ADHD or whatever. It was just like, just streamer stuff. You're just like click around and like open stuff up and look at the inspect menu. And you're like, you just do stuff with your hands when you're in your inventory and talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of funny thinking about it. It's a bit like the streaming content creation version of like using your hands to like demonstrate a point. You're like talking about an ammo, you open up the inspect screen, you turn the bullet around. It's just like, it's almost like you're, it's like the same kind of thing. It's like, it's like replicating like you being there IRL with like your actual body language, like almost with like stuff that's happening on screen. So I just do that as force of habit.
Mm-hmm.
And just to remind yourself, like, what's the hydration on this one? What's the energy? Like, I can't remember. Like, I double click on stuff all the time. And I was going, I was like, all right, we'll drink this kind of hot rod when we get into raid, double click, just like instant consume it. I was just like, no. I was like, God, I just keep clicking around in the stash, click, 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 click. And I was like, I just keep doing it. And literally 2 seconds later, it was just like, like this. I double clicked straight on an MRE and ate that straight up. I was like, chat, I actually just need to put my hands on the chair, like stop using the mouse for a minute. Because I can't believe I was just complaining about it and ate another freaking MRE in the middle of complaining. I was like, we need to stop. And the other one was we're in raid and I had an unidentified stim.
Oh, you can use unidentified stims like this?
No, but I identified it and was just like, it's one of the Obdorbos. Which type is it? Double clicked on it. It was the regular Obdorbos with the plus 1000% damage on it, right? And I'm just like, my guy's like, and I'm like, no, like desperately trying to cancel it. Oh my! And I like opened up the like the escape screen, like into the menu. I was just like, no. I did manage to cancel it, thank God. But it was just, I was like, oh my! I just like absolutely panicked. It was just like all the interfaces just all came up just as I'm like desperately trying to spam to stop it from doing its thing. It's so funny, and like, I can see someone in chat saying I chugged a bottle of moonshine as soon as I spawned.
So you're thinking it's gonna be worth the advantage to double click it. I mean, yeah, if there's like a 0.3 millisecond cooldown, like that might be okay. I was just kind of, as many people as I've seen like lose quest items because of that. I was just like instantly turning it off because I don't really double click like that.
I think I've just got to get used to it. I'll know after a while.
Eventually, you'll build them up.
Yeah. I'll build a muscle memory to like not click on food. Like that's the only thing that really matters in the stash. Like maybe you could heal yourself, but like I can't use a stim in the stash. That's not gonna work.
Except for the green one, but if you're low, I think
you ETG. You could use ETG in the stash.
Maybe I'm not positive about that.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll find out eventually, right?
I'll find out eventually. Yeah, I know. No, there's 100K. But I think it's just useful for being able to like pop open your inventory, go to secure container, and like double click the painkiller because like that sometimes is like I need to do this now. And the same thing with the splint. And the number of times I've gone like right click and then just like whoop, but just discarded it out of my inventory, and then it's like a speck on the ground, and it's like a really critical moment, and my golden star is like 3 pixels embedded under a piece of newspaper, and I'm just like clawing around trying to find it, while I've like broken leg and there's a scav around the corner and all this stuff. It's just like it avoids that. So I'm like, right, let me build up this muscle memory so I can take advantage of that in those critical moments, and it will be okay. I think as long as I don't do it on food, I'm pretty sure it's fine. Some of these things, yeah, I don't know. Can you drink a whiskey in the stash? Probably. I don't even want to try.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can because it has no hydration. Oh no, it does have energy and hydration. Yeah, you probably can then actually. I don't want to try it, but yeah, it is a bit weird having the double click do different things for different items, because a stash item like a normal, just Strillo sealing foam, like the one I've got up here, or bolts or whatever.
Right.
You double click on it, opens the thing. But that's now not the case for consumables.
Someone said somewhere that middle mouse should have been implemented. Like a couple, I think Marauders does this. Like if you middle mouse, it uses it or something.
That would be better. Like double click to consume, middle click to use.
Like the
middle
problem
click
is
isn't used for anything.
They just started off on the wrong foot. Sorry. Like you think about your desktop, you double click to open the app, right? Like use the app, I guess. You don't really like you right click to like go to properties to like inspect an app, so to speak. You right click and you know what I mean? So like, yeah, they probably should have done right click brings like a full menu, left click is like drag, and then middle mouse or like double click is use. Like just having double click be inspect was kind of the mistake, I think.
Yeah,
but hindsight,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
that is quite funny. I keep eating stuff I'm not supposed to. What else? What else? There's lots of other stuff. Oh, there was this is kind of like a bit of just a complete breakaway from what we talked about, but BSG did actually release a load of stats about last wipe, which I always quite like looking at and think are kind of interesting. I think I've got the picture up. I had it here in preparation. Let me find it. It was actually slightly low quality. I don't know whether you found this. It's actually slightly like I can't quite read it. They didn't.
I thought they like made it on their phone or something because it was
because it's really tall.
Yeah.
And then you're zooming in, and it's just like I can't quite read it. Like it's not rendered in quite high enough quality, which is a shame.
Well, it's got compressed from JPEG.
Yeah, and it's been compressed on Twitter and stuff. But I don't think did they post it anywhere else? Maybe they posted it on the.
It might be on their website. Forum. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we can just about read it. So 60-40 use sector bear. It's actually a big difference to normal. Usually it's 2/3, 1/3. I think it's because of lighthousey stuff. People worried about streets being bear focused when it actually ended up not being. I think that would twisted the faction slightly. I mean, there's all the usual stuff: kill counts, loot extracted, scav exfills. None of it's that interesting, really. I wouldn't say. Top skill levels reached is always intriguing. 76,000 people reached max endurance. 62,000 people got to max strength.
Now, is that of the same pool that got max endurance?
So that's just like you imagine like anybody with max strength would have max endurance. So
like I'm assuming you combine those two numbers and that's the total players that has both max endurance and max strength, or is it not that case? Because
I don't think that would be the case. Because if you were a person with endurance, I think you count in the one because there's no both column, right? So if you count in both columns, so yeah, maybe there's a couple of people with max strength that don't have max endurance, but I think it's kind of unlikely. So maybe it's 60,000 people total that have both, I would guess. Like if you got one, you're overwhelmingly likely to have the other, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still quite a lot of people. I mean, I think like I've tried to broadly estimate how many players there are in EFT previously. And my general kind of like just looking at various metrics, it's like you look at I can't actually remember how much the Reddit has these days, but just looking at like various like totals here and there and about what BSG have said. So there's 843,000 people kind of joined on the Reddit. Pestily has 640,000 people on on his as his subscribers, you look at some of the biggest videos in Tarkov that have ever been, and it's like you're talking 1 million to 2 million views, something like that. So I think there's probably, and those ones, some of the people just don't play AFT, right? They're just like, they've just watched it because it's like a good video. So I usually estimate that there's probably about 1 million people who are kind of broadly interested in Tarkov and have the game.
Okay.
And sort of play.
And have the game, yeah.
And there's probably about 500,000 people who are like actually like proper fans of the game, or like proper players, like play it a lot and play like decently. I mean, maybe not max traders, but they play for the white, they play like regularly, at least to some extent. And I think that the stats that they showed actually does kind of show that, because they do have a load of stuff about the events, which I thought was interesting. So 470,000 people accepted the first quest of the Terror Group Trail. So I was like, okay, the number's actually pretty on point, right? Like that's the number of people who could be bothered to open up the launcher and have a look at the quest and accept it in their inventory.
Yeah.
So to do that, you're still, somewhat invested in the game. Otherwise, you just wouldn't even open it, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. It's I mean, it's interesting because I was thinking more along the lines of what's like a concurrent player count, and like I was kind of surprised at 400. Like I honestly surprised 470 people accepted the first quest. Like that's a lot. I don't know.
It is, but sorry, you go on before I cut you off.
I was gonna say I don't know what concurrent player count would look like. Like I mean, I would assume like half is like a good estimate, like half and below. I'm assuming, but obviously it
concurrent
fluctuates.
Players, it's like 24 hours in the day, because this is like everybody they accepted, right? So it's like 24 hours in the day, 3 broad regions, and people are playing at different time windows, like maybe 3 to 4 hours, like most ordinary people. So usually concurrence is like a lot lower than that, you would guess, but like it's probably peaks in NA. So maybe it's like a third in NA hours.
It's something like that. But I mean,
maybe
that's we'll say like 200,000.
Yeah, like 150, 200, like peak concurrent during the day, something like that. But it's a lot of people.
That's really good for late. Like, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, well, we'll probably never know till Steam release, and even that's going to make it more obfuscated because it's 2 different clients. But that's really good, especially for a late wipe. But and then you think, well, maybe people started playing more because of the late wipe event. So it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So it would have brought people back. So I think like prior to this, it probably wouldn't have been as many people. But I reckon like a lot of people came back for this quest, which is why I think it's a bit of a like. I think the quest is. We said we talked about it a lot last time, and I think that it was 90% good, and the 10% of it was like really off-putting for a lot of people, and ended up making it a bit of a fail, because they did include the statistic of how many people actually completed the quest, which was 17,594, which is 3.3. I mean, that's a decent number of people, but we're talking like half of the number, like under half the number of people who got max strength, like a third of the number of people who got max strength completed this quest. It's 3.7%.
Yeah,
now, I mean, it depends on what your goal is, right? It depends on what BSG's goal is. If it's so that only a select few of people can get this thing and get the 2 lines of stash space, then they achieved their goal.
Yeah.
If their goal is to like maximize player participation and do a fun event that's more accessible for everybody, I think it's a big miss. And I'm in that second category. I mean, we talked about it a lot last time, but this confirms to me that those 4 things, the machete, the pumping station key, the green card, and the closed section to Lexos, those 4 things basically ruined the event for 97% of the people that tried to start it. And I think if you ruin the event, or you made the event not doable for 96.3% of the people who actually could be bothered to open the game and give it a go, not everyone's going to complete it. That's fine. But that's such a small number. I just think it's a miss for an end of wipe event. Make it 1% people for Kappa. Like, make other stuff like that hard. Make some other things really, really tricky. But this is different, right? This is like instead of wipes, don't be around for very long. The time limit was so short, right? Like that was one of the things that made me think that they were going to extend the wipe and make it like longer, so to give people a bit more time. Like the final part, like part 19 of the quest, only came out 1 week before the wipe. They're like, oh, here's part 19. You have 7 days. And if you don't do it in 7 days, bam, it's wiped. It's gone. Right. And I think that's almost worse, right? People like drip feeding the quests and then 1 week later, it's gone. Because you can't then gauge, like, how long is this going to take me? Is this worth my while? Like, imagine getting up to like part 15 or something. And then you've still got to get 10 double stims. You've got to find someone with the, you got to do like all the 25 raider kills, whatever. Like, they take a long time, these things. And if you just simply didn't have time because of like IRL stuff and you've worked your way all the way up to the, like, near the end,
right,
dude, I think,
that sucks.
I really feel for everybody who got close and then couldn't finish it because of like IRL commitments. I think it really, really sucks. I think people could have done with another week, hell, even another 4 days. But like the fact that it's such a low number, it makes me a bit sad.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better if you do like the concurrent player count estimate of 200,000. It's like 8.8%. That's still pretty low. I mean, let me say, I don't, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not even saying
it's an opinion.
Disagree with you. What I'm going to say is I think that this is like BSG's MO is like, we're going to make a game and it's going to be the worst game you ever played, but that's the beauty of it. It's the worst. It's the best worst game you ever played. Like there's like this natural. It's actually really interesting because Tarkov's kind of like not a fun game. You're actively taking fun from someone. It's a what is it? A net zero fun sum game? Is that right?
Well, a zero sum game on fun.
Yeah.
Your fun is someone else's loss of fun.
Yes. Which creates this like feedback loop where like you have fun, you want to keep playing, and then you don't have fun, and then it's either like I'm gonna dig my heels in until I have fun again, or I'm gonna quit because I'm not having fun. And it's kind of like it's kind of great, but it's also kind of like. But anyways, I feel like that's like been their MO, and I think it's like worked on like the marketing side of the streamers. Like, oh, watch me hate myself in front of you all while I play this video game. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I think like it's fine as a thing, kind of, but. Oh yeah, I don't know where I draw the line really. It's just like it's hard to know, but it does end up being that thing of like BSG. Yeah, well, where it becomes tricky is because quests like this will always favor streamers and people who like have the time to do it all day, and so it inevitably draws out that kind of just like it's not even just like the game is hard. It's just that ire of just like they always just release events for streamers. Like the stuff they do is like always for like streamers and like people who. No lifers, the sweats. And like this doesn't help, sure. It's very hard though to actually bring out something that's good. I just think it should have been a bit more accessible. Like remove some of the stupid gates, and I think it would have been better. Like I had a valid conversation with somebody on Twitter, basically saying they were like, I quite like the fact that the community has to get together to work it through. Like how many people do actually have a green card? Like you have to go into different discords, you have to meet people, you have to do whatever, like figure it out. Yeah, that's another opinion on it. I think, there was some community problem solving to figure it out. Fine. Do I think the quests were badly designed? Because that was the only legitimate like route to completing them? Yeah. So it is valid if you think that, it's a good thing for the community. That's okay. I just still disagree with the approach. I think these things should be completable broadly on your own, really. Like I know that they don't favor solos or anything, but like and what I mean is on your own is like even if you were playing with a group of 10 people, let's say, and you've all played 2 wipes, as a group you would also not be able to complete this together. It's not even like it's like most groups of people who haven't been playing that long probably don't know anyone with a green card.
Yeah, I feel like that's really well. This is the thing is like it's so obvious that they intentionally put in items that you would not have, right? Like, who has the pumping key station? Like probably Billy, who just bought the game yesterday, has it, but no one else in their right mind has that, right? The SP8 sword, who has that? Dude, how do you even find those? Like, okay, they had the buff the spawns. Green card, obviously we know that. I don't know. It's like they intentionally went through the list and picked some hard stuff, which yeah, that kind of explains it, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that some of the like Sanitar's 100% spawn rate on Shoreline.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take his bag, which is available now because he's there all the time, in one spot, and then take it to somewhere, a really hot location, and plant it down. That's a really stressful quest. It's quite hard to finish.
Mm-hmm.
But it's rewarding when you complete it. And there's always a way to try.
Yeah.
So long as it wasn't locked behind the close section key, that quest would actually be quite good. And I would say it would be quite well designed. And if you can't complete it, if it's just impossible for you to complete, well, yeah, then it just sucks. Yeah, it's just then it's a skill. Then it is a skill issue. And it's just like you couldn't complete it, and I'm sorry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like either spend more time strategizing, work on your tactics, work on your shooting, work on your map knowledge, work on whatever. Like there's stuff that if you couldn't complete it, you would know why. There were like people saying about like, oh, I know people are saying like anyone can complete it, but like I just can't kill the goons. I can't kill any of them. I just get beamed constantly. I've tried 20 times or whatever, and it's just like you probably aren't going to finish this quest. Then you're probably going to have to just play the game more, learn how the AI works better, or whatever. But there's something to work on as opposed to these other things, which are they're just walls.
Yeah,
they're just walls, and it's like I don't like that. A really hard quest that's difficult to complete. Like without it, honestly, it would be stressful enough without the green card thing. Even if all the reagents were just like randomly in labs somewhere on the table,
right? Yeah.
Even if none of them were gate kept, you still had to go into labs, survive, and take them to the freaking Lightkeeper, like in person.
Yeah.
That's hard enough. It doesn't need to be behind green to make the quest hard and challenging. I would be very interested to know what this number was if they'd got rid of those things, because it might still have only been like 15%.
Yeah,
quite reasonably, right? Because it still took freaking ages. I put in hours offline to get it done because I wanted to get it done, because you never know if there's going to be some secret ward or some stupid BSG BS that comes through that if you didn't do it, then like something you just don't know, right? And I'm just like, this is supposed to be what I'm doing full time. I should have enough time to finish this stupid thing. Like, surely, if anyone does, like, surely, because I don't stream as much, right? And I'm just like, well, unless I put the extra hours in, like, I'm actually not going to have time. And I was right. Like, it took me 5 hours to get the double senstims on my own offline on Sunday night. 5 hours. 5 hours. And then we finished the raid of kills on Monday. But that's because I know labs relatively well, because I ground it for a literal month because I couldn't find the stupid level 3 items for the hideout. So I actually know labs relatively okay because of that. But it's like, if it wasn't for this wipe, I still wouldn't know labs that well. I've tried it a bit in the past, but not that much. But I'm on wipe 9 or something. It's like, this is all I do. So it was hard enough. That's the thing. That's my understanding about it. That's what I think about it. It's hard enough. Didn't need the gatekeeping stuff. It was hard enough. I'll stop ranting about it now.
No, I honestly, I tend to agree, but that's how they like to do things sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, all the time. Anyway. So what else was there in this thing? So there was also a list of guns people like to use. I don't think the list is actually very useful. There was somebody on Twitter. Actually, I can't even see. Oh, who was it now? Oh, I actually don't even know who it was now. No, that sucks. Because all I did was I took the picture in a different tab on Twitter, so I didn't lose it. But now my Twitter feed is refreshed, and now I can't find out who it was. God damn it! It was someone I'd never heard of before, who basically spent their time rewriting the popular weapons thing, because BSG did it by category rather than by actual gun, and they rewrote it and made it readable, and they did it from top to bottom, like most popular weapons in 0.13. Now the thing that's a bit annoying about it is that in the list it's got AK-74M, AK-74U, and I don't know whether those are aggregated or not. Those are the only two that we could see. So maybe those types are aggregated. I'm not sure. Maybe the U's are aggregated and the M's are aggregated for the other 74s. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so at the top was the M4. Surprisingly, still the M4. People use the M4 the most out of all the guns.
Yeah, you get to get all the bears. U6.
29 million raids with the M4.
Yeah. A lot of
And
raids.
number 2, the Mosin.
Yeah, last fight for sure.
23 million raids.
Generally.
153 shotgun, 19 million. Gorna Stay rifle, 15 million. I wonder whether that's just because of Tarkov shooter. People just take them in and reload them and then throw them on the floor. UMP, 16 million. And then the AK-74M with 14 million, the 74U with 14 million. So like together between AK-74X, that's like 28, which is actually more than the M4. So like AK pattern rifles is used like the most, but it depends on how you group them, you know?
Sure.
Actually, and then there's Mosin bolt action. Now they have actually segregated those off.
Yeah.
So the Mosin would be by far the top actually with 30. That would be 35 million together between them.
They're
between the Mosin sniper and the Mosin inf.
different.
They are different, though, sort of.
Well, I mean, even the AKs are different.
Yeah, the M and the U are different.
Yeah.
Like the AK-74M versus N versus S74S versus those ones I would argue are the same.
Depends how much you hold in stats and value. So
well, AK-74M, AK-74N, and AKS-74 and AK-74, they're the same, no?
Oh, are they? Yeah, I think you're right.
Whereas
they're very
AK-74,
close.
Yeah, whereas AK-74
M is the different. M's actually worse. Wait, what? It's actually worse. That doesn't make any sense.
Is it?
Yeah. 1.65. Oh wait, no, that's better. I get confused numbers. It's marginally better.
Oh, you're right.
Better. My bad.
Yeah, so it's like indistinguishably different.
Yeah.
And then you got the 74U,
right?
The UN and the UB,
right,
which are kind of all bundled together. Yeah. And then I mean, what else? SKS, M9, pistol, SVD. That's just because of Punisher 6. Crotch, 155 shotty, MP5, ADAR, MP7. I think the MP7 is actually quite. It's
kind of surprising, actually, that it made that's actually pretty high up.
That is high up because all of these other guns are guns that like you find on scavs, you use early, you use when you're level 1. Because these charts are always going to have like a really skewed distribution towards the bottom end. Because most people get to level 15 and then stop. Like, or everybody let's put it this way. The number of people who get further on the progression just tails off. So these like number of weapons used is always going to be bundled into the bottom end. So to have the MP7 just underneath like all the shotguns and a load of other random stuff, and not be a quest weapon either, with 7,400 shows how many people use it and how good a gun it actually is. Followed up by the SR25, which again, relatively high level gun, have to buy it from relatively high level traders, is actually quite expensive. Ammo is quite locked to high level traders. So, I'd say then you probably can read into that like the MP7 and the SR25 are probably like the kitted PMC's weapon of choice, which is interesting because it's down at like number 16 and 17. Maybe the M4, as you say, but it's like it's the starting gun for USEG, so it's like it's hard to distinguish those two things.
The other thing I wonder, because MP7 I find typically you get a lot in caches and stashes. So I wonder if that counts in the metrics, like if you loot it in the RAM.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then the Glock is there, the RFB, again, another staple. Even though the RFB was actually not meta in 0.13, it still made the top 20 list. Kind of interesting. And then the Saiga and the M1A. So yeah,
nothing too surprising.
Nothing too surprising. Outside of the MP7, it's just 7.62 by 51 meta. But that's the only thing that is surprising is that something like the RD704 never even made the list, or the Mutant.
Well, I mean, they're so like locked off and gated, right?
Is it that much worse though?
I mean,
like, where's the SR25? Is that level 3? It's level 3 Peacekeeper, isn't it?
Like every player that played every raid is 90% of the time they're going to use their starter weapon, which is M4 and AK-74M. So those get like massively boosted, where it's like, how many people out of the population played and use a mutant, maybe like 10%.
Yeah, because that mutant is maybe a bit different because it's also quest locked as well. But like, yeah, the 704 is like, I think this is where the difference comes in. The RD 704 is level 4 traders.
Yeah,
SR25 is level 3 peacekeeper. That's a big difference in accessibility.
yeah, and
So
it's
maybe
like
that's the reason.
what level 4 skiers or prepper? I don't even
But
know.
which one?
Mechanic, isn't a mechanic the RD?
I think it might be. So that's like as the
42,
highest that
yeah.
you can be. You know, it's yeah, it's level 4 mechanic, which is 40.
40, okay.
Mm. Yeah. So maybe that makes sense then. But everybody complains about the BP meta. I mean, it's a 762 by 51 NATO meta, really. Like, just looking at this list of the number of guns used, like, I didn't actually have that many people kill me with BP, like, in the grand scheme of things. I don't think. I got killed by M80 fairly frequently at the end of the white, I would say. I think it kind of makes sense. BP's around sometimes, but I mean, I use this RD74 loads. I think it's a great gun. I think it's probably one of the best guns in the game.
So too.
Because like the mutant's good, but it's like really expensive, and getting a big mag is kind of hard. Whereas like the RD, you can have a 50 rounder
Yeah.
and be suppressed and have high ergo.
Yeah,
It's like a real
So
sweet
it's-
spot. I really like it. And like the recoil itself is not quite as good, but they're both meta, so it's they're both low, so it doesn't matter as much. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, seeing which guns, but yeah, as you say, it's very skewed. Very skewed. What else?
I guess just closing up Painkillers.
Shooterborn Heaven and Painkillers.
Yeah, Shooterborn in Heaven. Let's talk about that. I might actually do it. Like that's actually sounds like fun. It sounds like more in the spirit, in my opinion. Like, yeah, I mean, I kind of find it humorous that they added factory to the list. So let's talk about the actual changes.
Yeah.
It's no more 100 meters, 125 meters requirement. That's gone. Okay, you have to use a bolt action, and you have to get a headshot, but there's no distance, and they've upped it from like 3 to 5, and there's 5 on every map, including factory, which maybe factory is the one that doesn't really feel like in the spirity. I mean, I don't know. I'm a shooter born in heaven. I'm in the rafters getting a shot, in factory. Sure, why not? But I feel like it's way more in the spirit. I'm using a sniper, a bolt action. I'm getting a headshot. It's like the sniper thing to do, right? You don't. I mean, I guess you had to get a headshot prior, but it was just weird to do the whole like, 125 meters. Is he there? Get the rangefinder. Just like I just hated that so much, dude. Just like killed it for me.
It's certainly interesting. I also agree about range thing. I'm torn. I think it is probably better because it's funny. I almost like when I see it, I'm always just like, oh, they've made it like so easy now. But
you think, right?
Yeah, kind of. But also, the way it was before, I don't do it anymore. So like, there's obviously something wrong with it, right? I don't do it now because I hate it so much. But it's like I've got like Stockholm syndrome, I like automatically look at it and go like, that's not shooterborn in heaven. That's not the way it's supposed to be, even though like I'm not going to complete the quest the way it was. So it was obviously absolutely atrocious. I do think it's better. I think the thing that I don't like is that I'm forced to use a bolty now.
Oh, really? Because I like
for me, it's just like, would I trade the 100-meter requirement for the bolt action thing? Like, because I really, really don't like bolt actions.
Yeah,
I really don't like them. I'm
They're
very
not-
bad at sniping.
yeah, it's definitely, that's the thing is like I feel like some people look at
And it
this
has
and be
to
like,
be a headshot.
yeah, and I feel like some people look at this and be like, well, didn't old shooterborn 7 be a headshot, or was it just a kill at 125 meters? No way, it was just a kill at 125 meters.
Shooterborn was
It was a headshot, right?
a headshot, but you
Yeah.
could use any
You
gun.
could
so you
use
could
a-
use like a
right.
DMR or something.
You
right?
get
Semi-auto,
multiple
so-
chances, right? But I feel like if you're going to, because when I saw it, I was thinking, oh man, this is like, as you said, it's too easy. you know, someone's just gonna like cheese it and, you know, do it up close or whatever. But like, it's a bolt action. So like, if you could do that, dude, you deserve the title of shooter port heavy. You know, I feel like it's better all around. But I mean, yeah, you are losing the. You're right, you're absolutely right, trading the range requirement for a single shot. So
Yeah,
still miss.
I think it is better because the range requirement really forced you to do certain things, especially on certain maps. Like some maps were okay, like Shoreline and Woods, always fine. But certain maps were really like customs we talked about before.
Ugh.
Reserve sometimes can be incredibly painful, especially if you do it later. Whereas this way, you don't have to rush Shooterborn now. You can do it later on and not worry too much, which is good because I'm not going to worry too much, and I might do it later. And it might be quite, you know what? It actually might be quite fun to work towards later on.
That's kind of how I feel. I feel like it's going to be fun to basically like actually role play as a sniper, but not have to like worry about this tedious range requirement. Like, how many Shooterborn Heavens kills have been ruined? Like, you got the perfect scenario. He lined up, he stood still, he took the bait, he peeked the corner, but he was like 1 meter off or, you know, a couple meters off. Like, it just feels awful, dude. Like, you did all of that prep work for nothing.
Because, you know, Jaeger's, you know, he's got the time of day and he's like downloaded the satellite footage and he's done a laser guidance. And he's saying, well, I'm sorry, it's 124.8. So, you know, you're out of luck. Yeah, it's better. We've actually got a load of these to come. I don't know if I have the patch notes to hand, but like a lot of the quests are changing. This is the first one that people have actually got onto. But like Tarkov Shooter 8, they said is being adjusted. Like there's, you know, they say quest rebalance, but that just means like, you know, internal requirements. So there's like a load of them that are coming with changes. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but some of the boss ones, yeah. So Shooterborn, Capturing Outposts, Farming Part 4. I can't even remember which one that is. Is that like 3 GPUs or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's 3 GPUs and 8 CPUs. So they're changing that one. Grenadier's changing. Insomnia is changing. So a good Part 3 is changing. Is that Zabralo or is that something else? Yeah, so a good Part 3 is Zabralo. So that's not going to be the same anymore. But we need to see. People need to get there first.
Right.
Before we get to see what these are going to be. But we'll see. You know, it's Shooterborn Heaven is one of those hurdles that stops me from even bothering with Kappa. Now I might think about it again. Maybe. Let's see what the other quests are like. Yeah, and then the other thing, Painkillers, you mentioned. I think that's the other main one.
Yeah. There's some new armors we'll probably talk about next week.
Oh yeah, because we haven't found everything yet. Yeah, and it's not
sure
really that much interesting stuff.
Like I've seen some new attachments, like namely scopes, but I'm not sure if there's any like new
like
stocks or grips or whatever.
The only important thing I think is that Ragman has a level 3 armor that's not the rig. You can buy it, and it's good. Like that's it, and it's under 50k. So now it's not just Packer if you run out of class 3. It's called the Kora Kulon, and you buy 48,000 rubles. Like that's the only one that's actually important, I think.
Yeah, they had some new regular rigs too, and I was looking at them. They're I can't remember which one, but one of them might actually make sense because it's light. It's like it's a little bit more expensive, but it's lighter. I had to look at it again, but there might be something there.
There's the Chicom chest harness, the Chinese one. And it's a 10 slot, and it's like only just a bit more expensive than the bank robber.
Yeah,
tiny bit. The bank robber is 700 grams. This thing's 650, but it's bigger.
I think that was the one. Yeah, that was the one I was looking at.
I guess the CSA is a bit heavier, but it's got 3x1s. Yeah, it's probably the best min max. The Chicom.
It's more expensive though.
A tiny amount. It's like talking 1,000 rubles versus the CSA and 2,000 versus the bank robber.
Oh wow!
But then there's the really really mini one, which is the same. Actually, it's half a kilo, and that's the Zulu nylon reduced M4 signature chest rig, and it's got 3 2x1s, really small.
Maybe that was the one I was looking at. That I couldn't remember.
I think the Chicom's probably the best.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's like the Wartech rig. Actually, but the Wartech rig's only 10k. God, how cheap the Wartech rig is. It looks like the rigs have been decreased a lot. The Wartech rig was not. Oh, the Wartech rig's really heavy.
Yeah.
But it's got a 2x2.
Right.
Yeah, you need the lightness to offset this new Cora Coulon, the class 3, because it's 11 kilos.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean towards the bank robber or the cast one, the two by twos and two. Wait, I said that wrong. The whatever, you know what I'm talking about, because both of them are 2x3s when you put them in your backpack. So like you kill the guy or scav or whatever, you load up your bank robber with valuables, put that in your backpack, you save a little bit of space. Yeah, it weighs a bit more, but like it's not that big of a, it's kind of worth.
I think on that basis, maybe the CSA is the meta then. I think the CSA used to be a lot more expensive.
I thought it was like 17 or maybe it was like 20.
It's 11k now.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal
cheap.
then. I think
it's like 1,000 more than the bank robber. I think that the CSA is awesome.
Yeah, maybe it was, I don't know. It was different when I looked at it because I felt like I remember looking at it, I was like, that's too expensive. But maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they changed it. Like, yeah,
it's hard to say. Either way, yeah, definitely. I'll have to get that a look again and see.
I think those are the biggest changes. I mean, there's other stuff. I found a scope here and there. There's some like USEC and Bear rigs, which I think are Raiders ones.
Ooh.
I found on the guy who had like the Raider M4. So I think they come from Raiders, and they're class 3 rigs. And they've got like the Bear and USEC patches on, which is kind of cool. So I had a USEC patch, like class 3 rig for a bit.
That's cool.
I died. But it's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more stuff. You can actually see them. I think you can see them in the handbook, maybe. Go into gear and body armor. Like there's one that I'm sure I haven't seen that's in the handbook. Like some stuff is auto-identified, some stuff not. I don't know if there's any higher tier stuff this time, but there's one called the Interceptor OTV. I haven't seen this, but it's already identified in my handbook.
Huh.
It's a ceramic with 60 armor at class 4. But I haven't seen that. So there's a few. I had a quick look through to see if there was anything else in there, but I couldn't see anything else super important. The rest of it, you have to find them in raid and look at them, like the optics and whatnot. Yeah.
Painkillers. Do we like? Do we hate? The new.
I like it.
So I do have one question. Well, let's first describe it. So, as you probably may or may not know, they got rid of the sharpening effect, and they replaced it with a desaturation. It's a like 50% reduction in your saturation, your color saturation.
Yeah.
Also, there's a little bit of what I'm going to call chromatic aberrations going on like the edges of your screen, where it's like it's kind of like blurry, lens tunnel-y, but it's got like a little bit of a RGB effect to it. It's very subtle, but just enough to kind of like make the edges a little less detailed. And the other thing that I'm not sure if it's a bug or feature is it seems like you're getting the blurry vision, like the pain effect, visual effect while on Painkillers.
Yeah.
Where it's like your eyes are, I don't know, blinking and you're like tunnel vision-y ish without the dark stuff. Is that happening for you as well? Like, what is this?
Yes. So
is this a feature? Do we like this?
I actually think it's good.
The horror.
I don't know what the community is thinking. I mean, the shift of a community almost certainly will hate it. So no one really is sure now whether it's a bug or not. Basically, like, yeah, as you say, the blurred vision doesn't go away when you have Painkillers on, but you can walk. So you get your mobility back.
Right.
If you got broken leg or whatever, Painkillers allows you to walk like it always did. You still take damage like you always did, but the blurry vision no longer goes away until you fix the actual problem.
Which, I mean, I
think it's fine. I think, yeah, I just think Painkillers are like way OP already.
Yeah.
This doesn't stop you pre-painting or anything like that, but it gives you a downside for not fixing the thing. I know there's damage. You get damage for running around, but the damage is not that much. Unless you get the like triple damage bug thing, which you do get sometimes when you run, and it's just like it hurts you like way quicker. It is annoying. If you don't get that, the damage is really inconsequential. Like running around on a broken limb is probably not really the game design feature that Nikita is after. I wouldn't imagine. So I don't mind. Like you can still run around on a broken leg, right? Like take that as a big plus. But you have to suffer with the dodgy vision if you don't heal it. Like the thing is, they might just change this. It might be unintentional. It might just be a bug. But I think it's quite good, personally.
To me, it feels intentional, but I don't know.
It does, but you can never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really made my mind on it. I mean, I just wish there was a little bit less visual clutter going on, and namely me getting shot with the aim blur name punch. But just feels like with everything going on, it's just like sometimes just makes shooting and fighting very frustrating.
Yeah, I haven't like really talked about it or done anything on it, but like Friendly Guy did a video about it. Did a Twitter piece about aim, about the blur in particular. It was basically him just ranting, going like, "How am I supposed to see the guy? I can't even see my own teammate 5 feet away because of the blur." And he goes through it frame by frame.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Like we do, right? When you're editing footage, often you'll go through frame by frame to pick moments. And it is funny how it goes. Like you're completely fine, you get shot. The screen instantly is like a frosted pane of glass.
Yeah.
For like frame, next frame, next frame, next frame. And if you don't get shot again, it's like after about 5 or 6 frames, it just reverts.
Yeah.
It's straight back to normal. Everything's perfectly clear again until you get shot again. And I just wish, I know you said you wanted to record it in high speed.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see what it's actually like. I just wish that after the very first frame of blur, like they can introduce it instantly. That's fine. But if it's tailed off,
yeah,
I think it would visually look way better. Because I think the reason why it feels so brutal, like it's hard to tell. It's one of those. It's another one of those. We've introduced a semi-auto thing that now it stops you from clicking the trigger, and it feels god awful. Oh, we've tweaked the code very, very slightly, and now it feels completely normal and intuitive. Right? It's one of those feeling things, right? Which is like minor changes, because like you wouldn't be able to see what they did. You'd only be able to see it if you slowed it down frame by frame. I think it would feel way better though if it was like the hit happens and it's like max blur, and then it instantly just it just disappears, rather than it being like blur frame, blur frame, blur frame, blur frame, blur frame, blur frame. It just feels really odd. And if it tailed off instead, I think it would just feel way better. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know until they actually do it, but I think that the shot would feel better. You could actually simulate it in a video editing piece of software. You put the blur on at like 20 and then 12 and then 8 and then 4 and then 0 and just play that clip as if and just pretend you got shot and just see like how that would feel versus what they do now. I'm almost interested to do that. See how long the blur normally lasts for getting shot once, and then replicate it with like a slide off, and then be like, guys, you should do this because it's not going to feel as like awful, because it just feels like you're just blurred the whole time, and it just made the fight just feels impossible, and you don't really know why, because it always happens so quickly. And then when you watch it frame by frame, you're like, no wonder I couldn't hit the guy, because like I literally couldn't see him.
But this is the other thing, is like basically your vision. I mean, your vision's like reduced like 20-30% of what it used to be, but your center point of aim is also getting shifted, and it's like not. It's like it's a huge, like comparatively to like other games, it's a huge. It's not like you're not doing like a 360, and then spinning back around to do the 360, but it's almost probably like in the 70 degrees angle you're changing. Like it's pretty extreme, but it happens so fast, right? It's so extreme,
and because it's blurred in the moment,
it just makes it even more like
you can't tell,
right?
It's like I did a screenshot that one time, if you remember.
I do.
When I got shot, and I was astounded that I didn't kill this guy, because we were like very close together, and only when you slow it down to frame by frame, that I could see the angle of my gun and see the bullet impact at the back on the garage, door, and my aim was dislocated. If you took the X and Y, my aim point was dislocated like 1/5 along the X axis. So I was completely missing him, even though he was in the center of my screen. But I couldn't see the gun. I couldn't see the bullets impacting the back because the whole thing is just like blur and stuff. So it was only when I slowed it down to each individual frame that I could even work out what happened. And it's just like, yeah, that just makes it feel crap. I was like, how did he not die? Like, did the guy just eat my rounds? It's like, no, I didn't hit him at all. But not because I wasn't aiming at him. I was aiming at him.
Yeah. You just couldn't have a chance
you had to know that the aim punch was gonna dislocate your aim point 20 degrees to the left and then adjust for that in under 50 milliseconds whilst the screen's blurry. Like there's no takeaway. I think that's the issue, and people always have the issue with this, right? There's no learning takeaway from that fight other than just like it sucks to suck. GG next. There's that, you can't do anything. It's just it wasn't your fault. You can't learn. You can't get better.
Right.
In those situations, you just die.
I mean, that's basically the fight I was telling at the start of the recording. Like we mag dumped a whole mag of 30 rounds and a half, and people were like, how'd you not kill that guy? And at the end screen, I got 7 hits, even though it felt like I was hitting him, but it's just it's chaotic.
But yeah, so the painkillers thing, we managed to deviate off into aim punch.
Yeah.
The painkillers thing, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's much better than sharpness. I don't really care about the saturation.
Yeah, the saturation thing, I kind of like that. It is like I don't like it, but I do like it because it's like you're losing like detail, but not like color detail. So like it's gonna be harder, shape. Like if you just you know what I mean, like
maybe
the PMC is blue clothing won't stick out in the bush as much as it did before.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Boys.
Yeah,
savior of the blueberry boys.
I'm thinking along those lines. I was gonna say, with the visual clutter, because I feel like re-adding the pain visual effects with the painkillers. It's just all this visual clutter. There was an interesting video I saw on Twitter about controller versus keyboard and like esports and things like this, and namely Apex Legends. And it was a very like very like partisan view because that stuff is like highly contentious. People get really really serious over that stuff. But it's interesting because like in Apex, there's a lot of like this visual noise when you get shot. Like the edges, the whole like I like basically like a center circle on your screen is like clear, but everything else around it is like flashes in like blue when your shields get hit, and then flashes in red when you're like, it's a lot of visual noise. And on mouse, you have to like keep track of what you're looking at and tracking with your mouse, whereas like controller, you don't feel that same issue with the visual noise because like you have some assistance with the aim assist to like, even if you do lose sight of your target, the aim assist kind of like tracks so your camera's moving, so you have like a sense of where they might be, to like also help adjust as well, which I thought was interesting in regards to all this visual noise stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm not that bothered about stuff around the outside. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's the combination that makes it bad. Blur is fine, so long as you're not trying to shoot your gun. Aim punch is fine, as long as you're not trying to shoot the gun. But all of them together, the blur and the aim punch and
I think it's just way overtuned. Yeah.
But like with regards to the actual painkillers thing itself, like I think it's okay. Like you use the middle of the screen mostly anyway. The only thing that I think is maybe slightly unfortunate is that these things are always done in a way that it's like, okay, so what are we going to do to make people, I don't know, punish people, or what's the downside to doing X, without thinking like, okay, how a player's going to respond? What's the new emergent behavior that you're going to put in place? It's like, okay, well, pre-pain chads will now, if they want this, I mean, it's up to them, right? They may just increase their saturation, so that when they're pain killed, it'll look exactly like it used to.
Painkiller. Yeah, but I honestly, I feel like where they're pushing it, it feels like what the feels like they're nerfing the always painkilling, where you wanted to use it when you need it type of thing, because the desaturation is pretty. It's 50% reduction in your color. I tested it, the color corrected it. So I mean, you're losing quite a bit of color detail.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say, but you are correct. People could just bump their saturation up through whatever NVIDIA control panel, whatever. I don't know.
Even just using post effects.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah.
You might be able to. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, post effects has colorfulness as an option, which I'm pretty sure is. It actually also has saturation. It has both.
Okay, yeah.
So you could do that, and then there's color grading with intensity. So yeah, I don't know. But I think like other than that, I think it's okay. I actually think it's all right. Removing the sharpness is great. Sharpness makes streams and videos look absolutely god awful.
Yeah, it is also just not fun having two different sharpnesses. Like you want, I don't know. I guess that's kind of the thing they were going for, is like, you know, I don't know, because like if you wanted your base game to look sharp, then if you Painkiller, it's like extra sharp, and it's like, no, I don't want to look like this, but maybe that's the thing they're going for. So I guess I get it. It's just kind of annoying, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess it's even more annoying because it's like you always wanted the pre-paint. I feel like it's a good thing overall, but we just gotta tweak some of the visual noise. I feel like it's just too much, man. Same with the 8-punch as well. But anyways, another topic for another rant for another podcast episode. But anything else?
I think that's the main stuff. We'll obviously have more stuff next week once we've delved into a few more of the intricate details and got a little bit further with quests. And yeah, it's only been a day. I actually have to go to customs. So we will see. Hoping for some streets performance upgrades because the new areas look really awesome. We haven't really talked about scav behavior, but maybe we'll talk about that next time because we're like kind of running out of time.
Yeah.
Let me just. We'll talk about that next time. Let's write it down. But yeah.
All right, fine. Next time I'll write it down.
Because scavs are brutal, but we'll see how it gets on as we get on further in the wipe. But so far, it's been pretty good, very smooth, I would say. All my raids have worked perfectly, except for the one on the streets where I tried to play it after playing for 6 hours and my computer kind of just gave up. I had to restart Tarkov. Other than that, I had no DCs. Every raid's been under 5 minutes of matching, pretty much. No stuttery weirdness. I've had no, like some people have had it. I've had no back end issues. And I played right from the word go. I think it's probably one of the smoothest wipes that we've seen. So,
yeah.
Thumbs up for a smooth wipe.
Yeah. Streets though, we need a hot fix whenever, you know, at the earliest convenience. I'm not in a rush.
Exactly.
All right. Next week, topic about some armor. Once we get that, some of the weapons. I've already seen some leaks about some weapons and some very interesting hidden stats. Just saying, use the SVT and AVT. Otherwise, we'll catch you all next week.
Bye-bye.